Hey, Bible friends. Right up front, I want to thank you all for your patience as I worked on this larger than life project. We got a lot of modernized KJVs to take a look at today. You know, as I worked on this, I kept adding to my notes and adding to my notes, and I ended up with pages and pages of notes. So I finally came to a point where I was like, I got to stop. I got to just organize all of this and get this video and get it out to you all. So any of you all that are interested in modern KJVs or these KJV updates, you can, I want y'all to have this so you can actually do some comparisons. So that being said, this video, it's not going to be the most interesting video. So for the Bible nerds out there, you're probably going to really like this. Because there's going to be a lot of comparisons. There's going to be a lot of text on the screen. I'm going to be doing some reading from the KJV and putting the text from these up on the screen. So not only did I purchase all of these, except for one of these, and I'll explain that later when we get to it, but also got the KJV, the KJVER on digital for the Olive Tree app, and then also got the what did I get? The Simplified KJV on the Olive Tree app, so I could check those digital formats out. I did get it in the MEV, guys. This is going to be a tough video if my tongue doesn't get untied, but I did get it in the MEV, and I'll just go ahead and tell you now what Olive Tree is offering for the MEV is the 2014 edition of the MEV, which was riddled with typos and issues, but so I got a refund on that. Anyway, the MEV that I'll be showing you today is the 2024 edition. So I'll stop right there on that. I got my laptop set up here, so you might see me looking at my laptop, different parts of this video, because when we start doing there's going to be a section on deviations from the 1611 edition, because some of these Bibles make claims that they follow the 1611, and I'm going to show you that that's not entirely true. So I've got two different 1611s here. I got the Thomas Nelson 1611, then I've got the 1611 from the 1611 Bible Museum. So I've got that, and I've got those tabbed out so we can compare those to these modern King James. And anyway, I said I got my laptop set up here, so I'm going to be looking at some notes from time to time. Most of the video is probably going to be overhead camera, but I may switch back and forth. I don't know yet. This is going to be one of those videos where it's kind of hard to plan for because there's just so much going on, and I might have to change things on the fly as I'm going through it. Let me take a look here. So yeah, let me tell you what we got. Over here I've got a whole stack of KJVER, which is the KJVEs you read, and we've got it in this gift award version. And then I've got the all these they call Ultrasoft cover. They call this an Ultrasoft cover also, but it's not. And I'll show you that too when we get to that review. But we've got their excuse me, olive color, black. I've got purple, and the some of these are their sword edition, and I'll explain to that when we get over there. Here in a little bit, I'll explain what the sword is compared to the ER or the easy read. And then over here I have the 2024 MEV, or is the modern English version. And then I have several, or I shouldn't say several, I have 4 of the Simplified KJV, or the SKJV for short, and 2 of these are the exact same. I purchased 2 copies because I wanted to just wanted to have 2. You never know when you might run into somebody that wants one of these. So anyway, that's what we got there. And let me take a look at my notes, because I think there were some similarities that I wanted to talk about. Yeah, there was a couple similarities between, so like all of these, there was something that they all do, and that is they keep the dating method of the King James, which is like in the 30th year, in the 4th month, on the 5th day. So they all keep that. And the reason I bring that up is because there is some Bibles like the NLT. It actually changes that, and it doesn't follow that. It actually says on July 31st of my 30th year. So I don't know where they exactly get that, but anyway, all of these, even though they're modernized, they keep the dating method of the King James. So this review is going to be, it's going to be kind of repetitive because some of these, like the KJVER and this gift award, are also similar. So there's going to be some repetitive, and then over here, these are going to be. So bear with me. I know not everybody's going to watch not only this whole intro, but not everybody's going to watch this whole video. They're probably going to jump to the one Bible that they want to check out, and that's why there's going to be a lot of repetition because I know somebody's not going to watch the whole thing, so I have to repeat myself. Let me look at my notes, and then I think, yeah, okay. I want to say one more thing, and then we'll jump to the overhead and kick this thing off. Is that, in my opinion, the very most important part is going to be at the end of this video, and that is going to be the scripture comparison, and is going to be the where we look at the deviations from the King James Version. So in other words, all of these claim to be modern KJVs. Do they deviate from the KJV? And if they do, how much? I have a lot of scriptures that I'm going to show you on deviations. So some of these fare pretty good, and some of them not so much. So you have to stick around and watch that. All right. Without further ado, let's get this thing going. Do you all believe in retroactive prayer? I don't know. I don't know if it's a thing, but if y'all just pray for me that I make it through this video and keep my voice, but most of all that God is glorified and that you all are edified, and hopefully you all learn enough about these Bibles that you can make a good decision if this is what you're looking for. That being said, these KJVER and the Sword are produced or published by Whitaker House. This Bible here is a gift and award edition. It goes for around $10 on Amazon, and it comes with, it doesn't come in a slipcase or anything. It just comes in this, it comes with this little info card on it, and then it was kind of, the plastic wrap on it. I don't know what you call that, but just a kind of a plastic wrap on it to hold it all together. Here, let me show you the back of it. They kind of give you a little bit of information about this. And on the KJVER, you can see right here, it says it uses the original 1611 King James Version text. Let me see, is that, you all read that? Based on the Textus Receptus, rather than the revised 1881. And what that revised 1881 was the revised version. That was the first, as far as I know, that was the first critical text Bible that came out. Anyway, they're saying they're not following that, which is true. They're not following that, but they're making the claim that it uses the original 1611. And at the end of the video, I'm going to show you why that's not entirely true. So anyway, you can see all that, and if you want to read more of that, you can pause the video. But we'll get into this. Let me get rid of this little card here. We'll start off with like we normally do with this cover, and I mean, you can probably see it right now. It looks like this Bible's been kicked down the road and drug all the way to my house. The corners are all bent, and that's the way, because that's the way they ship this thing. It comes in a, like I said, it comes in a saran wrap, or not a saran, a saran wrap, in a plastic wrap. It might as well be saran wrapped, but that's how it comes. And it's just the corners are all bent up, and this there's no way of really protecting it when that something comes like that. This cover, they call this Ultrasoft, but you can hear that it's like it's paper here, but it's almost like it's a plastic. I don't know. I don't even know what this material is. But, I mean, I don't think that's a cardboard, but anyway, maybe it is. You can see that it's already separating right there. But you know, let me show you something. Let me show you something while I'm thinking about it. Let me grab something off my shelf. I got two things I'm going to show you. And, you know, because what I want to show you is that I said this is around $10, $10 or $11, I think. And you can say, well, don't be too hard on it. It's a gift Bible and it's $10 or $11. Well, let me show you something. Here's my little Holman KJV compact. This was $10 or $11, same price. And it's got a, you know, wonderful, really nice cover, stitching, everything. I mean, it's a nice little Bible. And paper, and it's great. And then here is my thin line ESV. Let me get it out of this case. I'm just trying to make a point here that, in my opinion, and this is a wonderful cover. I think, have I reviewed this? I don't know if I've even reviewed this, but very nice Bible. I think this was $11 also. Actually, I know I paid $11 for this. So what I'm getting at is that you can have a nice Bible for between $10 and $12, whatever. So I feel like, guys, I hope y'all don't click out of this video because I'm being so hard on this Bible, but the Word of God means everything to me. It means so much. And I think that the Word of God should be beautiful in every way. And when you put out a Bible, take it seriously. All right, let me shut up and let me get into this Bible. The cover, I have no clue what this is. They call it Ultrasoft, but it's not. Holy Bible printed on there. Same thing on the spine. It's printed on KJVER, Easy Read, Whitaker House. And then on the back, the ISBN. No perimeter stitching on this. No gilding. Just, you know, just paper. There's no ribbon in this. A white headband and a white tailband. And I'll get now one thing this does have going for it is it's thin. It's a thin line. I don't think they don't call it a thin line, but it is a thin line. Or to me, it's a thin line. All right. Measurements. Let me see, 5 and 7/8 ish. And then 8 and 3/4. So 5 and 7/8, or what I say? Yeah, 8 and 3/4. Let me check that again. This got a little bit of a rounded, so I'm trying to compensate for that, or, you know, hang over for that. Yeah, 5 and 7/8, 5 and 7/8, and then width-wise, or thickness, I should say, is 1 inch. It's right at 1 inch thick, so it's got that going for it. So it is a very portable Bible. I do give them that. This is and it is very lightweight. The paper they used in this, I don't know. To me, it's really lightweight. I'm not gonna weigh it. All right, let's go to the inside of this. So the cover it's a really stiff cover. I can hear some things cracking there, but the presentation page is a thick presentation page. And so this paper is you can probably see it now. It's like newspaper, or a recycled kind of newspaper. I don't even know what this is, but it's not great paper. So contents, alphabetical order of the books, introduction to the Bible, and then here's some information about the easy read, and, you know, kind of like what they did, the things they changed to make it, you know, what they consider an easy read. I was thinking that on here, there was something else on here that I thought I wanted to mention. Yeah, I'll show it to you later. I just won't even mention it here. I'll just show it to you after a while. So an alphabetical of easy read word exchanges. This is a list of what they changed out. So all the words that they changed out. They put it here. Please check this listing carefully and note that no word of doctrine has been changed. So That's probably true. I mean, the majority of these, if you look through it, the majority of these is that they took the ETH off of things. I would go through those. There's also a read the Bible in a year section here. So verse by verse, and double column. And the print in this is, it looks small to me. I got some comments before about me saying that the print didn't seem like it was what they say it is. This is an 8-point. I think that's what they said. It was an 8-point. Let me look real quick before I think I had that in my notes to tell you later, but yeah, it's an 8-point. I'm not going to go into that. I had my notes to kind of go into that and show some examples, but you know what? Actually, I will. Just hang on one second. Let me grab my. What I do with that? Oh, I put them right here. I couldn't find them. So I'll just bring these two examples that I had a little while ago. My little KJV here, this is an 8-point. And let me bring that up closer. You know what? Let me do it like this. That way it's kind of overlapping. You can see the difference there. And I understand that different font styles are different, a different size. But the thing is here's my case for this. Is when I tell you that something is a 12-point or an 8-point, you know what you're looking for. You understand that you got a basic understanding of what an 8-point is supposed to be. And when it's not that close, you feel like you're being misled. This is a Thomas. So this was a Holman 8-point, and I compared that for you. This is a Thomas Nelson 7.5 print. So let me overlay. I don't know if I need to overlay that, but let me do it anyway. This video is going to be super long anyway, so we're just going to go ahead and do this. Let me bring that up there. So you can see this over here on the left side, the New King James Compact. Did I say KJV a second ago? If I did, I meant this Thomas Nelson New King James is a 7.5, and this is supposed to be an 8. So I say that the reason I bring that up and the reason I'm comparing is because if you're thinking about this particular KJVER, I just want you to know what you're going to get. Let's go. I want to show you. Let me see. This is a sewn binding. I think I had page 34. I think. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, page 34. Let me go over to page 34. Yeah, I just want to show you the threads that it is a sewn bound. And then what's interesting though, what I do like about what Whitaker House did with these, with this KJVER, you can see we're in Genesis and there's red letter. So the KJVER and the Sword edition both do this. God's words are in red. In the Old Testament and in the New Testament. When we go to the New Testament, I'll show you. Let me go over to page 245. Page numbers are at the bottom. You guys are really small page numbers, really small verse numbers. This Bible, if you get this Bible, I think you're probably going to need to have some really, really good lighting. I tried reading this in the low light, and I just couldn't see it. And I got decent vision. I don't have the greatest. I don't wear glasses or contacts. But what I wanted to show you here is that whenever God is quoted, or whenever someone quotes something, or you know what I mean, when God's quoted, they highlight it. So they do that in the Old and New Testament. They just kind of do a red highlight. Let's go over to, now this being a verse by verse, they don't do anything, there's nothing special in the poetry. So you can see it's just same thing. One thing that they did, in my opinion, do a good job on is they kept the text out of the gutter. They didn't run it really, far down in there. And I'm gonna go ahead and bring something up here because I want you to have this in your mind, is that archaic words in this are not they're not underlined in this, so they don't underline it, and they don't define it. So, and they kept a lot of the archaic words in here. They kept them. Now, the reason I say that is because what I'm going to show you after this, they underline archaic words or words that they felt like might be misunderstood by modern readers, and they define it. They kind of drop the ball on that, in my opinion, and I'll show you that when we get there. But I just wanted you to be aware that this gift award version does not do any underlining or defining of the words. So I'll just give you an example. Let me go over to John chapter 5, verse 3. I'll just give you a couple examples here of that the archaic words are, that they kept those in here. Now they did replace some, but let's see, John 5, 3. Yeah, in these lay a great multitude of impotent folk, of blind, halt. So there's your archaic word, halt, withered, waiting for the moving of the water. And then Acts, let me see, let's go over to Acts chapter 1, verse 20. Verse 20, yeah, and his bishopric. Now, what's funny is most people don't know what a bishopric is. And they changed it in here, but the only thing they changed was they took the K off of it. So if you look in your King James version, bishopric is spelled at the very end. It's I-C-K. So they took the K off. And if you go back, I'll tell you, we'll just go back here and look, and I'll show you what I'm saying if I can get to it. Let me get to the word exchange. I'm going to go into this a little bit more later on. Of these word exchanges. Let me find it. There we go, right here. So there on the left is the King James, and then over here is what they changed it to. I'm like, why did you bother? If I'm missing something there, you all tell me. All right, let's go over to chapter 2 and verse 6. Yeah, right here. So now when this was noised abroad, the multitude came together and were confounded. So that's kind of, I feel like they should have replaced those. All right, one more, and then we'll talk about some other things. So let's go to Romans chapter 7. Romans chapter 7, what verse? Verse 8. So you can see here's the New Testament. I'll show you right what we're here right now. So that you shall not covet. They're quoting God. But sin, taking occasion by the commandment, wrought in me all manner of concupiscence. I have trouble saying that. So you got wrought and concupiscence. Definitely, this is not an easy read. Okay, folks, this is not easy read. It's okay. So anyway, don't become astonied at all of this. Okay, astonied is a archaic word. I just threw that in there, but they did change astonied out for astonished. Astonied means astonished. Let me go over to let's go to Daniel 5:9. I'll show you that. So I'm just kind of taken back by some of the words that they replaced and some of the words that they didn't. Some of those archaic words. So 5:9. Yeah, right here. And his lords were astonished. In the King James, it says astonied right there. They did do some things that do make this an easy read, in my opinion. They removed the ETH at the end of the words, and they took out the ye, thee, thine, thou, and replaced it all with the modern you. Now, what I find funny, and I'm going to say this real quick before I tell you what I find funny, is that I personally like the ye, the thine, and thou. I do like the ye just for the plurality of you. Okay, now what I find funny is I just told you they took out the ye and thee and thine and all of that. But if you go to Matthew 5:37, there's an example. Where's verse 37? Right here. But let your communication be yea, yea, nay, nay. I just felt like if they're going to change out all the, some of these other ye, thee, thine, why didn't they go ahead and say yes, yes, and no, no? I don't know. Maybe this is I thought that, I said to my wife, I said, maybe this is a project they just started working on and they've got this thing out there. But it looks to me like the copyright on this is, because here shows 2001. Yeah, here's another one, 2001 and 2000. This is a 2023 version. So I don't know if this is what they're considering the finished product. Maybe I'll reach out to Whitaker House and see if they'll reply to me and ask them, is this the finished product? Or is this still a work in progress? Are they going to come through and update yay, yay, nay, nay, and all of that? All right, let me look at my notes real quick. Okay, let me show you something else. So this is claiming to be easy read. I'm going to show you one of the reason I don't think it's easier to read than the King James. Here we're in Genesis chapter 1 verse 27. And if you have a King James, you can get out and take a look at this. But this is one of the examples I picked because I always felt like it was a little bit more difficult because we don't talk this way anymore. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him. Male and female created he them. So this is keeping the exact same sentence structure, and this is in many places they do this. And I just kind of feel like that's not easy to read. All right, let's go over to Acts. I want to show you something over there. Guys, I'm showing you all kinds of stuff in this thing. Like I said, this video is not going to be for somebody who's looking for action. You definitely picked the wrong channel for action. But this video is definitely not going to be. This video is for the Bible geeks out there that really nerd out on this stuff. All right, I'm going to show you here. Let me see, Acts 11 chapter 11 verse 15. Where are we at? The KJVER keeps Holy Ghost. It doesn't do what modern versions do and change it to Holy Spirit. So if you're a stickler on that and you love your KJV and you're like, it's a deal breaker if they change Holy Ghost to Holy Spirit, this keeps the Holy Ghost. There it is. There it is again. You can probably look through there several times. It occurs right in this area, but they keep Holy Ghost. And at the bottom, let me find you some. There's a few references here and there. Here's some down here. They're far and few between. There's not that many references. It's not considered a reference Bible. This is a small gift Bible. So, it doesn't portray itself as a reference Bible. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there because I was looking at my notes and trying to finish my sentence at the same time. Supplied words are italicized in this, so they keep the like the King James has italicized words. Let me see. Well, we were right there, and I switched it or changed pages, and I shouldn't have. I had an example here. It's better for me to have examples in my notes than to try to find one on the fly. So, anyway, right there, so you can see he did. Hopefully I'll try to zoom in more in editing, but he did is italicized. So they italicize the supplied words by the translator. Let me see what else. Let me look at my notes here. Okay. Yeah. Last thing. Let me see. I don't think there's anything at the back after Revelation, other than these maps, and these maps are, that's it. I mean, and what, this is, it looks like these were an afterthought. Really what these look like is that they cut some maps out of a book and then scanned them onto a piece of paper and printed them into this. And actually, there's 3 maps in this. This map is actually part of the paste down liner. Can't make this stuff up. Okay, I'll probably cut that out. But anyway, that's this. It does have a few positives, but in my opinion, it has a lot of negatives. Anyway, that's your all's, that's up to you all, what you all, if you like this kind of Bible, this kind of paper. Actually, I want to say this. This paper, I kind of like it. It is the easiest flipping paper. Does that make sense, what I'm saying? The easiest flipping paper that, I mean, it doesn't stick together. Oh, it's going to stick together now on me. Right. Yeah, there we go. But it just seems like it's easier to turn these pages. I don't know if it's kind of like because it's like that newspaper and it's not that super slick. Super slick paper kind of, I guess, sticks together easier. And then maybe it's because it doesn't have gilding on it. Maybe that's something. Okay, guys, that's enough on that one. Let's get into the a little bit more premium KJVER and Sword Bibles. Let me bring that whole stack over here. Here we go. A whole bunch of them. Let me change up my notes here. Guys, a lot of this stuff I'm saying, like when I talk about my notes and stuff, I'm probably just going to leave all that in this video. Because this video is going to be so long, I'm not going to have time to just do a whole lot of editing. I'll just tell you that up front. What we got here is a failure to communicate. And that's no joke. I've got 3 of these. So here's an easy read. This is sword, 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 and sword. So I guess I got four swords here. And my plan is, since these all, I mean, the sword, I'll try to explain this. The sword versions are the King James Bible. That's all they are. They're a King James Bible called the Sword. And they do the exact same thing inside as the Easy Read Edition does, which is underline words and give you the definition of the modern word or what it means today. And then the other thing that all of these do is, like I just showed you in the gift award ER, is they highlight God's, or when God is quoted, and then they also, God's words in the Old Testament are red letter, and Jesus in the New Testament are red letter. So my plan is, I'm going to show you the covers to all of these, because they all have different covers. Even though these 3 are the same color, they have a different front. But I'm going to show you all of these, but then we'll just go through the KJVER, because I don't need to show you both of these, each one of these, because they're the exact same thing inside, except these are just a King James version inside. And you already know what the King James, what that looks like. So we'll go through. Let me get all these out of the sleeves. I'll just go ahead and pull these all out. Let me lay them down. And I tell you what, let me do this. Let me just show you the front and the back of each one of these, and I'll hold it there for a split second there, and you can pause the video if you want to read. All these say the same thing, within reason. So, and I bought all these. I'm not going to promise you that. Actually, I'm not going to say anything because I know I already gave I voiced my opinion on the gift award version, but I will say that I like these. Well, I didn't show the front of that one, did I? Okay, I do like these a little better than the gift award version. Get the ribbon hanging. So I've tabbed these for the review. So I'm gonna go ahead and get these out, and that way I can show you So this one's just, I'll just do it one at a time. Actually, guys, see, as I said, I'm going to have to adjust some things on the fly. I'll just go ahead and go through the covers as I pull them out of here. This is, they call this Ultrasoft. This is a good cover, guys. This cover is actually nice. It feels, it's got kind of a grippy, you know, like if you're holding it, it doesn't feel like it's going to slide out of your hands because it's got kind of a grippy, I wouldn't call it a rubbery feel, but it is grippy. It is not, it's not close to like a leather or anything like that or a goat skin. It's just got a different feel to it. And like I said, it's got kind of a grippy, rubbery feel to it, but it's nice. It is a nice cover. How long it lasts, I have no idea. No stitching on this. Let me, hang on a second. Let me skip through my notes here because I want to make sure. I don't want to leave anything out, guys, because I got so much stuff I got to say. There's no way I could remember all of this. No stitching. This silver Holy Bible on here is stamped. It's slightly recessed, I should say. I guess if you call that, I don't know if I'd call it embossed, but it is slightly recessed. And then this Holy Bible KJVER on here, this silver, it might be slightly, no, I think it's just printed on. This feels a little recessed, but this, yeah, I feel like that's just printed on. So they'll probably wear off. Now, something I want to show you, and this is, I'll try to remember to show you on all these. If you look, this Holy Bible is not on here center. It's off, and so is KJVER, and so is Whitaker House in their emblem. It's all to the right just a little bit. Hopefully the cameras, you can see how it kind of rolls over, and there's space on this side. So they all do that. So if you get one of these, this is not, you know, they didn't put that on there, in my opinion, as straight as they could have. And these are not, I guess I'll go ahead and say it, these are not cheap. In my opinion, these are, I'm going to say it right now. I'll just go ahead and say it. I was going to try to give you all the review and to I'll give you my full thoughts at the end, but I'm going to go ahead and say it right now. That way I'm not wasting your all's time and you can be like, okay, I'm out. Is that, in my opinion, these are a gift Bible. These are not something you're not buying this thinking that you're getting something great, like amazing. These are, in my opinion, a gift Bible, and they're an overpriced gift Bible. Right now, I think one of these I've got here, I paid $40 for it. I don't know which one it is. I think it might be this one or the sword. But anyway, I paid around $40 for it. Right now it's going for $70. So the price jumped to $70. I don't know why, but even at $40, in my opinion, these are too much. If you could pick one of these up for $20, then it'd be totally worth it. All right, back to what I was saying. Good cover, slightly stamped in, not stamped in. ISBN on the back is in silver. It is pretty small, but anyway, there is silver gilding on these. So the silver gilding does look pretty good on them. And there's a white headband and a white tailband on it, and then 1/4 inch ribbon. And I really like the color of the ribbon. I like this color too. I do like that color, and I like the ribbon. And that's fine with me. That the 1/4 inch ribbon's fine with me on a Bible like this. Let me go ahead and measure this. That way, we'll go ahead and measure this one, then I won't measure the rest of them because they're all the same. We're looking at 6 7/8. 6 7/8. 9.5. So 6 7/8, 9.5. Let's see if I can. They don't advertise these as a thin line. At least I didn't see it anywhere. But I would say that these are pretty close to a thin line. I mean, I'd call it a thin line. An inch and 3/16, give or take. So 1 3/16. That's pretty thin. At least I think it is. But okay, let's get. Let me see. Look at my notes. We're gonna wait. Yeah, see, I almost started to go into the interior of this. I'll go ahead and show the interior. It's a green paste down liner. But let's get these others out, and I'll show you those. So here's the sword. So this was the KJVER, and then here's the sword. And the sword is the one that I said it's basically the King James inside. I mean, it's not basically, it is the King James. inside. So they put this sword symbol on it, and that's just, this all is just printed on. There's no recess to it. I'm sure I could probably rub that off, scratch with my fingernail, I'll probably take it off. And then Holy Bible, KJV, King James Version, and their emblem. If you look, this one's got the same issue. This one, except this one's rolled that way just slightly. You can see that the Holy and Bible is coming off that way, and then there's a little bit more of a space on this side. Same deal on the back, the ISBN. Same gilding. I gotta say they did a pretty good job on the gilding. And then the same ribbon. And then set that. I'm trying to set these in such a way that I know. Yeah, let me move that. Do some rearranging here, guys. All right. Casting a shadow there. Let me get rid of that. I don't want any shadows. I don't have the greatest lighting as it is. So this one is the Life Verse Holy Bible, and I've already showed you the back of that. But the only difference with this one is they put that that's on the front, and that's not stamped in or anything or embossed. It's just all this is just that's just printed on. And Holy Bible, look at that. So you can see there how it's rolling around the corner there, or rolling off the spine. Same back. Now this one here, I'll go ahead and show you. This one here came with the corner already like that. So they don't, I was going to wait until they went, but I'll just show you. The corners aren't great on these. That's why I said that these are basically a gift Bible, in my opinion. But anyway, that's kind of neat. I wish that if this would have been stamped in, like, pressed in, had some texture to it there, that would be kind of neat. And now here's a purple one that I got to show you. Now this one is one step up from those, and it actually, all of this is actually recessed or stamped in, embossed. I don't know what the right word is. Even the Holy Bible, all of this is. And this Bible looks like it was beat up. The box was damaged on both ends, so it looked like it got dropped or something. So it actually, I don't know if you can see that, but it actually buckled these pages and kind of bowed all that over. But all this is all recessed in. All of this is. So there's no paint or any color like that on this that might rub off. The ISBN on this one is stamped in. Now this one's got the exact same feel as these do. So I guess I'm assuming it's the same material. And then this one has a purple paste down liner in it, but the innards are innards are exactly the same. And then one more is the black one. So this is the black sword Bible. Oh, the purple one was a sword also. I don't know if you've seen that or not, but the purple one I just showed you was also a sword. And remember, the sword is, oh, you know what I didn't show you? I'm sorry. I looked back at it and said, oh, I didn't show you that. Is the this one has gold gilding on it. So gold gilding and a purple headband and purple tailband. And then it has this light purple. I don't know if I call that a light purple. Maybe a violet, maybe. I don't know. Y'all know I'm not great at calling out colors, but anyway, yeah, purple headband, purple tailband, gold gilding. All right, here is the black sword, and same deal with this one. Just kind of printed on there, and same issue with the Holy Bible on here. If you can tell that. Sometimes I'm looking through the camera or looking at the camera, I don't know. It's hard to tell what you all are gonna, or what it's gonna look like, or what you're going to see in the final product. So that's why sometimes I got to kind of show you different angles. But it's rolled around also, so it's got more space over here. You can see this one actually. And these corners on all of these spines are, just kind of odd. You know, I don't understand what's going on. I've never built a Bible, so I don't know, but I just know that the spine on these is not great. This one has same material as the others, gold ISBN on the back of it, gold gilding, black. Let me check that. Yeah, black. It almost looked brown. Black headband and a black tail band, and then a 1/4-inch black ribbon. And then on the inside, it has black paste down liner. And the corners on all of these they look the same. They look like they could pop loose any minute. I think these would have been nicer if they would have had perimeter stitching. And I think that would have helped with those corners. It would have kept those corners. So, is that? Yeah, see there's some, looks like some glue or something right there. Okay. Let's move along. Let's get on the inside. Let's go to the inside. I'm going to, I'll tell you what, I'm going to go through, let's go through the KJV. Let me find that ER. Yeah, right here it is. We'll go through this KJV ER. Like I said, the insides are the same. I mean, other than the sword is the KJV, but they do the exact same stuff on the inside. So the paper paste down liner, this one's green, and Holy Bible presentation page. This is a glossy paper. So I'm not sure how well ink, a pen would do on this. I've noticed that, like, you write on glossy paper, sometimes it just smears. So I'm not sure. I wish I would have liked to have seen that just to be a regular paper, or, like a cardstock, but not have that glossy finish on it. KJVER. And I want to tell you that one of the things that all of these, the cover, all these that had this gilding, what they call this Ultrasoft, these versions, all the pages were stuck together. And I mean, they were stuck all the way around. And I went through and pulled all the pages, unstuck them on this one. I think I might have done the black one also. I'm not sure. But anyway, so if that's something to be aware of, that the pages definitely stick. Let me see if there's anything on here I wanted to show you. The contents. This is kind of standard fare. We've seen a bunch of this in the gift award version. It's the introduction to the Bible, and tells you about the KJVER. There's something in here. Let me see, where is it? Cross-reference. There was something I wanted to show. This is just some study helps up front here. So alphabetical list. This is the words. You've seen this in the gift award. This is the same. This text block in this is the same as in the gift award. That they just do some different things in here. But there was something I was wanting to find, or wanting to show you. I thought it was in this. Yeah, I'm not seeing it. I don't have it in my notes, but I had thought I had remembered that I was going to talk about it. Is that 2 pages? Oh, here it is, right here. This is what I want to show. The basic text of the King James Version, Easy Read Bible, is the beloved King James Version of 1611 with minor word changes. So I just wanted to show you that is in the easy read. So when we get to the end of the video and I kind of point out some of the reasons that this is not 1611, that's why. That's because that's one of the claims they make. And I'm not sure exactly what they mean by that claim, but I'll discuss that at the end of the video. So if you're interested in that, you'll want to see that. There is at the bottom here. Let me get over into the. Like I said earlier, all of these are sewn binding. Let me get there, and I will show you the threads in this one, so you can see. here, let me explain this to you while we're right here. They have a study. They call it how the study works, but it's kind of like a type of Thompson Chain reference Bible. And what they do is they give you some topics here. So they have three main themes: God, plan, and man. And then within each one, they have these different topics. Now, these topics are not in alphabetical orders. I don't know what the order is. You can kind of see they're not in an alphabetical order. But the topic is God. The theme is God, and then all these different topics in here. And you just find a verse, and I'll show you here. Let me just go ahead and jump over here and find it down here at the bottom. It's not on every page, but it has God, man, God, and then some of them will say over here says plan. But you can, if you're on that verse right there, it'll tell you what the next verse is for the theme of plan and the topic of promises. So it's kind of like a Thompson chain in a way, because it'll hop cover to cover on a certain topic. So all these are all pretty good topics, but there was one topic in here that I felt was kind of biased, theologically biased. I guess if you believe in the tribulation being two parts, a first part of the first half of the tribulation and then the second half of the tribulation, then you'd be okay with that. But some people don't think that there's different views on tribulation. So kind of felt like they were pushing some of their eschatology in there. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that's wrong or right, whether about the tribulation. I'm not going into that in this video. I'm not schooled enough in that. I mean, I do have my beliefs on it, but we definitely don't have time for that here. And then let me get through this front matter. Guys, this video is going to be 2 hours. We're approaching 50 minutes. That's okay. That's okay. I got all day. Read through the Bible in a year. And then we'll get over to the Old Testament. So let me talk about the paper. This paper it's not horrible. It's definitely not horrible, and it's not the worst Bible paper, but it is on the thin side, and there's a little bit of ghosting. I don't think it's really any worse than most Bibles. But some people they if they see just a little bit of ghosting, they don't like it. So guys, if I'm going to apologize right now, if the lighting is changing, that's because I think I've mentioned it before in different videos. I depend on studio lighting and outside lighting. So it's kind of a cloudy day, mixed clouds. So if you kind of see the lighting changing, that's what that is. And not a whole lot I can do about that. All right, I had to get something to drink there. Let me see. I did notice that there was I'm not going to try to find it. I didn't write it down. I guess we can see it right here a little bit. I don't know if the camera's going to pick it up, but there was some slight inconsistency in the print, like in the red throughout and the black throughout. There were some faint places, but none of it was so bad that I felt like it was worth showing. And it wasn't, I don't even know if the camera would have been able to show the differences or not. Now, one thing I do want to compare real quick, let me find, where's that Gift Award Bible? Let me dig through this stack here. One thing I want to show here is, let me bring it up to the camera. The verse numbers are like right on top of the text. And there were some places that I seen where they, like number 4, where they're actually touching verse 6 here. They actually start kind of getting into the text. So one thing both of these being from Whitaker House, that's why I'm bringing it up. I appreciate in this version that they brought the verse numbers out. They kind of did a little better job on that, in my opinion. And I think that even though the verse numbers are still a little bit small, I like to see a little bit bigger verse numbers. It's a better job on that. Let me see. I want to go over to flip through here a little bit, and one thing I want to mention before I forget is the margins in this. They do give a it's about a 5/8 inch margin. So if you like to write in your Bible, then you'll have a little bit of space there. And they also kept it out of the gutter here. I know some people, they kind of like, well, I'd rather have it over in the gutter a little bit and give me more space over here. But I don't write in Bibles, so I like that to be out of the gutter, and I could care less. I could care less if there's any space over there or not. So, as I mentioned before, and I don't think I mentioned it yet, you can see a whole lot of red here in Exodus. That is wherever God speaks, God's words are in red. And this is a good red. I got to give them that. They did a good job, in my opinion, on the red. And then they also did the highlighting. Let me see if I can find that. I don't have a page for that in my notes. I failed. Let's go through it and see. It'd probably be, well, see, this is why you don't want to try to do stuff like this on the fly. Yeah, I thought I had it in my notes that, but I don't see it the page number in my notes or the scripture. But maybe we'll come across one. I'll flip through this a little bit and we'll come across. It's just you've seen it in the gift award. Now you can see here where this is faded. I just now noticed that. So you can see, I don't know if the camera's going to pick it up. This is considerably more faded than up here. But you've seen it in the gift award where they highlight the text. But I wanted to show you on this because it's just paper. I'll crinkle pages. Since this paper is a lot lighter, a lot more, it's white, real white paper. I figured there'd be, I should know something like that off the top of my head. Well, here we go. Look at there. We got some. So there's what the highlight looks like when God is quoted. All right, let's talk about archaic words. So this text is the ER, the easy read. It's the exact same text that I showed you in the gift award. But the difference is between this easy read and this easy read is in the gift award, they don't underline the words. See, like here, forbore to go forth. They don't underline stuff like that in here, and they don't define it either. So in this version of the easy read, they do. And let me pull that up a little closer here. You can see forbore to go forth. They tell you it's stopped going out. And David abode, he remained, smote, struck. I'll talk about those a little bit more after a while, and the reason I'm going to talk about those more is because they're inconsistent with the way this works. But let me go and let me show you some things about their underlining, and I don't feel like their definitions are an easier read. Now I do find this underlining, I don't know if y'all like the underlining, but I find it, to me, it's distracting. Because a lot of these, I read the King James a lot. Actually, it's my daily. And so for me, a lot of these underlined words I already know, and I don't need them underlined, but I just find the underlining kind of distracting. Let's go to, let me see here. Let me go to page. Let me go to Genesis. Genesis, where is Genesis at? Genesis 48. Genesis 48:2. What I'm going to show you is I'm going to show you an example of what I consider a harder reading than making it easier. So Genesis 48:2, right here where they underlined strengthened himself, and look what they give as the easier read word, rallied. So, and Israel rallied and set up on the bed? I don't think so. I don't know anybody that would not understand that Israel's strength, what strengthen himself means. So anyway, to me, that's a harder reading. Let's jump over to the New Testament. These are just some of the things I came across as I read through these. Now, I should have mentioned that in the intro. I tried to read through a lot in these Bibles, and I randomly read, trying to find errors or typos and stuff. And then on top of that, I did a lot of research online, seeing what other people had come up with. So we're going to go to Mark chapter 9, verse 2. And look here. Jesus, he's talking about Jesus. He was transfigured before them. I think most people know what transfigured means, but they give two options. Changed, which that's okay, but metamorphosized. Really? I mean, come on, Whitaker House. That's not an easier read. And I checked these two, like the Thomas Nelson Bible, the King James, where some of those other Bibles they give what the modern word is, and I checked these, and I didn't find any of them that used these words. So, y'all let me know in the comments. Y'all think that's a harder reading, or do you think that's an easier read? And the next example I'm going to give. Let's go over to John. This is I got in my notes an example of yeah. All right, John chapter 12. Guys, we're approaching 1 hour already, and I'm not even halfway through this. I apologize in advance for my editing, that I'm not going to do a whole lot of editing on this video. It's going to take me forever. So you're probably going to get a whole lot of raw footage. I'm trying to get to chapter 12. Here we go, chapter 12, verse 24. John chapter 12, verse 24. What was my word here? Except, yeah. Verily, verily, I say to you, except a corn of wheat fall. So the word here is except. Verily, verily, they give you truly, which that's good. That's good. But except a corn, they give you unless. Does anybody know? I mean, does anybody not know what the word except means? Anyway, that was my, yeah, of course it means unless. I think everybody knows what the word except means. Okay, an example. I'm looking at my notes, and you ever look at your notes and you're like, I don't know what that's. Oh, okay. Yeah, these. What I'm going to show you next. This happens. It's a lot. So, and that's why I said a little while ago I was going to show you more about the underlining and the inconsistency of what they do. Let's go to John chapter 19. John chapter 19. 1941. John chapter 19, 41. Okay. There we go. Here we go. So the word here is sepulture, or sepulture. That's how you want to say it. And they define it here as tomb. And that's fine. I mean, I agree with that. I'm not complaining about that. But I want to show you the inconsistency in this. But I just want you to be aware of this, that what they do is they define it here, and then sometimes they won't define it again for a while. So here in verse 42, they underline it, but they don't define it again. And that's no big deal, because you can just look right there. I mean, you just read it. And then up here in chapter 20, verse 1, it's underlined twice, and then they define it. And then let's go to verse 2, underlined but not defined. Verse 3, underlined but not defined. Verse 4, underlined but not defined. Or 6, or 8, or 11. So all the way down here, it's there twice, and it's not defined. So, and I didn't go beyond here to see, when is it defined again. But I'm going to show you one more example in Revelation, and then I'm going to discuss why this is the case. And this is, all of what I'm showing you in this Bible, guys, is the exact same situation in the sword. So if you get the sword version, it's got the exact same underlines, exact same definitions. even though that's the King James Version. Because this text, even though they call it the easy read, it is very, very close to the King James. I mean, it is very, very close. You'll see that later when we start reading. When I read, I'm going to read a bunch of scripture to you, and that way you can kind of compare these, but you'll see it's very, very close. One more example of this inconsistency. Here's the highlights when God's quoted in the New Testament. Going to Revelation. I'm about ready to wrap this one up, guys, and then we'll move on. Revelation is the very last book of the Bible. See, I was going to Revelation chapter 1, verse 12. Is that where I'm going? Yeah, verse 1, or 12. Okay, so yeah. Guys, I have made so many notes on these Bibles that when I'm looking at it right now, I'm like, well, what was I talking about there? Okay, but I'm on track now. Revelation chapter 1, verse 12, candlesticks. This is a word that they will underline and define. But if I'm not mistaken, this is the first in Revelation. This is the first instance of candlesticks. And then verse 13, it occurs again right here, candlesticks, but it's not underlined or defined. And then we get to verse 20a, so that's going to be on the next page. I hope there's a whole bunch of Bible nerds watching this video, because if not, I'm probably going to get all kinds of nasty comments. This is the most boring video. So verse 20, I hope I'll zoom in in editing. Candlesticks, actually, let me bring it up there close so I don't have to worry about editing so much. Candlesticks here is not underlined or defined. And then chapter 2, verse 1, candlesticks again, not underlined or defined. But now look here, we get to verse 5, and the word candlestick is underlined and defined as lampstand. And then you might be saying, well, the reason being is because candlestick is not candlesticks. So that's why, I mean, that'd be silly. But nevertheless, let's give them the benefit of the doubt and saying, well, it's two different words. And for some reason, maybe it means two different things. But I'm going to prove that that's not the case. So let's go over to Revelation chapter 11. Guys, I don't think I'm out, that I've got a vendetta with this Bible. I don't. I am trying to give you all in-depth, honest review of what I found. When I bought all of these, I bought them with the hopes and the prayer that these were going to be the best thing since a pocket on a t-shirt, best thing since sliced bread, whatever. Insert best thing here. And as I started going through it and started reading, I started saying, okay. So that's all I'm doing is I'm presenting what I found to you all. And of course, I've got my opinions, and I'm trying to stay neutral, but it's hard, and because I want you all to know my feelings also. If you all have these, if you already have one of these and you think it's amazing, let me know. Tell me, if I'm wrong somewhere, let me know. All right, so here's where I want to show you. This is Revelation chapter 11, verse 4. These are the two olive trees and the two candlesticks. They underlined it here, and they defined it as the same thing, lampstands. So you can see where I was going with that, and my kind of like my aggravation with that. It's like, I'm going to discuss it later. I'm going to talk. I'll probably mention this again later, but it's like, hey, either define it everywhere or don't define it at all. Let's get some better consistency here. But here is in defense of them for this. Guys, I was looking at these other Bibles, and I thought I was able to defend them in that, but I just went and looked at some of my other King James, and everywhere, so right here, verse 12, candlesticks got the little a, candlesticks got the little a, and wherever that appears, they're calling it out. And then if you come down here and look, it defines it here. So 12a, 13a, lampstands. So I don't know. That's something I'll have to look into again. Maybe I'll look into that and put it in here in the video later or something. I don't know. But anyway, I thought I was able to defend them on that. So anyway, my advice to Whitaker would be, hey, define everywhere. If if you're going to put these definitions in there, or just take out all these archaic words and just make it a true, in my opinion, a better, easier read. I don't think a lot of people who are looking for an updated KJV are not going to be upset that you swapped out the archaic words. So, all right, now let me go and show you the one possible I guess I should say the one possible typo. Trying to think of the right word. Not that word was hard. Talk about archaic words, huh? The one, let me find my notes here. One typo that might be, I don't know, y'all tell me what you think. Let me see, where am I going? Go to Book of Daniel. Let's find Daniel here. Did I not have it? Oh, here we go. I got a little sticky. So Daniel 4:16. Where's 16 at? Where it's defining, and I don't know if this is a typo or not. Y'all can tell me. It's defining times, and it doesn't say possibly a year. It says a possibly year. It just doesn't sound right to me. So y'all can tell me if you think a possibly year is a typo or not. Not that that's not a huge deal. A few typos here and there is I don't know. I'm not big on that. Like if it's something like that, as long as they're willing to fix it, this is not considered their final, the final thing. So, okay, I have rambled enough about that stuff. Let me tell you a little bit more about the actual Bible itself. So, I don't know if we covered it in this one. Did I already say it that there was? There's very few references in this. Mostly down here at the bottom, you're going to have that I'm calling it that mini Thompson chain, the word study or the topic study. Let me see if I can find. Okay, the references, when it does have references, here we go. The end of verse references. So there's one, but there are far and few between. There's one psalm. So anyway, but it does have some references at the end of verse. They are considering this print size a 12. Maybe it is. I don't know. I didn't. This was, it's okay. I mean, it might be a 12. I don't like if the print is like really tiny. That's when I start questioning it. Like the print's really tiny, and they're like, "Hey, this is a 10," and it's like, I don't think so. Christ's words in red. I think I already said that, and I already showed you. And then here's another one. This is when God is quoted as saying, "This is my beloved son. Hear him." Let me see. Oh, you know what? I said that was the only typo. I got in my notes another one. Well, I'll tell you what. I'm glad I took notes or put a bunch of notes down, because as I scroll through my notes, I'm looking and I'm like, oh yeah, there is another. Now this one is a typo, and I found this one. Somebody posted it online. I don't even know where I'm going, but somebody had it online, and that's where I found or got this one. I spent days upon days and days and days researching. I just got the alert that the battery on the camera is going dead. I'm going to have to plug up. Let me show you this, and then I'll take a moment and plug up. So Philippians 2:2, I think. Yeah, right here. So the definition of one mind, that's okay. United, 10 spirit. So pretty sure that T wasn't supposed to be there. Should have been united in spirit. So I read quite a bit of the whole Bible, just randomly, and I didn't find any. I didn't find any typos or issues in the text. Now there is some words that they changed that some people may not be happy about, and I will cover that. We'll cover that stuff at the end of the video. Let me look at my notes real quick, guys. Yeah, in defense of the typo, there's a Bible that came out by and I'm not throwing them under the bus, but I'm just giving an example that the KJV store put out a Bible called Sacred Syntax, and it's a beautiful Bible. I don't have it. I would love to have it. It's $200, so if somebody wants to buy it for me, I'm just kidding. But it's $200, and it's a beautiful Bible. You have to check it out. It's on the KJV store, and it's called Sacred Syntax. Their first printing, or their first run, in the contents, you know, the canonical list. Well, I'm showing you in this, but I guess just for a visual, you know, you have your canonical list here. They skipped Acts. They didn't have Acts. So, I mean, typos happen. You know, just like I'm going to show y'all here in a little bit with the 1611, which, you know, printing back then was a bear to do. But I'm going to show you a typo in the 1611. So let me skim through my notes real quick, and then I'll pause this. Y'all go take a break. Don't stay gone too long because you may not want to come back to the video. Let me tell you what. Let me go ahead and let's go ahead and jump here to the back, and let me show you the same. They got the exact same maps in here. The only difference is I mean, they look the exact same. You know, it looks like it was kind of an afterthought in my opinion. But there's 4 maps in this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then they put it on this one. So they didn't make it part of the paste down liner. So I like that. And then there is a few pages of blank paper here with lines on it. Actually, yeah, those lines almost look like they were on this side, but they're not. So anyway, there's that. Okay, at the end of this video, I think I've already mentioned it before, I will give my full thoughts on all this. Next Bible is the MEV. Let me get the MEV. All right, I hope you all came back. I hope you didn't take off and say no thanks for no more. Okay. All right. Here is the MEV, the Modern English version. I almost said the Modern English Bible. The MEV. This is the Modern English version, and this is by Charisma House. And the name Charisma, you can think charismatic. So now don't think, I have not found, and I don't know that anybody else has found any charismatic translation in this. So don't think that this is a charismatic Bible. And those that are charismatic, this is not going to do you any good. So there's the back of it. The back doesn't really give any details about the physical Bible. About the only thing they tell you is who was willing to write a little blurb about it and how they liked it. So that's kind of basically what they put on here. They don't tell you any of the real details about this Bible, but I'm going to tell you the details about it. Let's get it out of there. I don't know what this material is. They don't say, or they don't have a name for it. You know how the Bible manufacturers have leather touch, leather soft, leather like, and all that stuff. They don't say. The only thing they call this is cherry brown imitation leather. So this is a nice cover. So, and I'm going to tell you right now, I really like this Bible. They did a great job, and for the price of this, I think this is a really nice, good quality, personal size Bible. Front to back, everything about it, I think, quality-wise, they did a great job on this. I would like to see it in other covers. This is, as far as I know, at least what I've seen on Amazon, and I pretty much buy everything on Amazon. This was the only cover in just the MEV. Now, they do have one called Spiritual Warfare Bible, but that one I have heard is a hyper-charismatic Bible, and it has leanings that way. It is using the MEV, from my understanding. It is the MEV, but there's study notes and stuff in there that are, from my understanding, charismatic. If you have it and you're like, no, it is not charismatic, please put it in the comments, and that way I can put that in the description to correct myself. But the cover, I like this cover. All of this is actually, you know, texture. It's, I don't want to say stamped in. I don't know what the word for this is, embossed, but that is actually in there. There is no paint here. That looks like perimeter stitching, but it is not. And there is no perimeter stitching around it. Now, on the side here, this is really the only kind of complaint that I have is this paint on here is already starting to wear. I don't know if you can see that, but right there in the Holy Bible, and then down here the A, this, and I haven't even used this much. I mean, I've read, through it, and I've only had it for a few weeks, and it's already starting. So I would say that if you were to make this your daily Bible, that would probably be gone in just a couple months, I'm sure, or mostly gone. But aside from that, I would have liked to see all that stamped in. That would have been nice. I would like to see it just stamped in and not even have any color at all. Now I'm going to, the ISBN on the back is stamped in without color. So that I say it, and I'm sure that other Bible reviews say it also, that they wish they didn't put the ISBN on the back of here. And I agree, because like I said earlier on the gift Bible, you're advertising God's word, and I feel like it should be God's word, and it should be the best that it can be. My favorite thing about this Bible is the gilding. This gilding is, I don't know, I didn't read anywhere, but it is copper. It is a copper color. So if I haven't said it before, I was an electrician for 15 years, and I dealt with copper a lot. So that is a copper color, and I just love it. All right. So there's kind of a burgundy headband and kind of a burgundy, let me see, do I got the Bible upside down? Yeah. So headband is kind of a burgundy color, and the tailband matches. What threw me off was my ribbon was sticking out over here. Let me get that. So one ribbon, 1/4 inch, and it's kind of it's a red color. So did I tell you that was a cherry brown? Yeah. Let me get through my notes here. Let's jump into inside. Now this is a personal size. Oh, let me measure it. Y'all let me see. You all didn't stop me. It's got a little bit of a rounded there, so I'm going to overhang just a bit. It's like 5 and 7/8. No, sorry, 5 and 5/8. Like 5 and 5/8. And then 8 and 3/4. That was easy. 8 and 3/4. It's a personal size Bible, I mean, y'all know what personal size Bible is. 1 and 5/8. Is that 1 and 5/8? Yeah, 1 and 5/8. So it's a personal size Bible. Paper paste down liner, and blank page, and the presentation page here is, it's a glossy paper, but I really like the way I like that the coloring they did to that. It's kind of like a stone look, front and back. And we're going to get right here, printed China, the contents, and then right here. This is kind of weird. I don't know if I'd say weird. It's just kind of odd. I found it odd that they followed the 1611. The 1611 dedicated to King James. They dedicated this to Her Majesty, Queen Elizabeth. And I don't know. I just kind of felt like, why did y'all do that? But y'all can, I'll bring this up closer. I mean, if you want to read this, I'll show you each page of this. And they claim that it's an update to the authorized version, or the 1611. And let me flip the page there so y'all can read this if you want. But I just kind of feel like, did the Queen request this? I doubt it. Probably not. I don't know. Whatever. Down here, I'll show you this real quick. That Modern English Version is a translation of the Textus Receptus. And they say the 1550 Stephanus 3rd edition. Okay, I mean, all right, whatever. But and then it says using the King James Version as the base, and I've got a sticker on here. I can go ahead and peel that off, get that out of the way. The base manuscript. So I'm guessing that they started with the King James Version and then referenced the 1550. I don't know. Yeah, I really don't know. I listened to some interviews that Pastor Scott Ingram had done, and actually I watched several interviews with James Lindsay, who is the chief editor, James Lindsay, Dr. Lindsay, and I didn't hear him say anything much about that other than this is an update to the King James, and that it's totally based on the Texas Receptus. And I'll show you after a while that I don't really think that's 100% true. Where did I forgot something. Let me go back because I wanted to show you something. Was it over here? Where was that? Oh, here we go, right here. Realizing the need to update the King James Version for the 20th century English-speaking world, 47 scholars who comprise the translation committee. So if you know anything about the 1611, there was 47 translators or scholars that finished it up. That was what was left. So I found that kind of like, you all happen to have 47 too. I wanted to touch on that back here where it says that they use the KJV as their base. I'm just going to go ahead and say it now. I feel like they use the New King James as their base. And you'll see why. If you stick with me to the end of the video, or just go ahead and skip ahead. Don't skip ahead. Stick with me. I don't want to be alone. But you're going to see that it follows the King James, or the New King James, sorry. It follows the New King James really close. All right, let me show you. Let me get to the beginning here. They have short book introductions. I forgot to mention that in the Sword and the KJVER do not have any kind of book introductions. Well, that's why I didn't mention it. But since I'm mentioning it now, I will tell you that the Sword and the KJVER don't have book introductions. So each one of these has a book introduction. If I don't forget, I'm going to show you Revelation because I want to make a comment about that. Not much of a margin on here. They kept it way out of the gutter on this, and I really appreciate that. There's a lot of space. I mean, almost a finger's width in here. I like that. Like I said earlier, it can almost be out here on the edge, and I'm fine with that because I don't write in the Bibles anyway. Let me go over to page 16. I read some of the book introductions, and they seem pretty good. The only one that I thought could have a little more to it was in Revelation. I thought that was 2 pages. It wasn't. Some binding. There's the threads. And one in Revelation, it's nothing bad. I just felt like they could have added a little something to it, and I'll show you that when we get there. This is the 2024 edition, and in the 2014 edition, they had a lot of problems. And you can kind of go on the interwebs there and find those problems. But I'm going to tell you some right now that I came across. In some videos when I was researching for this particular Bible or for the MEV, and I'm just going to show you that those have been corrected in this. And we'll go ahead and go through them right now. So we'll start back here, Genesis 4:13. So if you happen to have, if you had got the 2014 edition, and you're like, should I get, did they fix those in the 2024? They did. 4:13. Then Cain said to the Lord, my punishment is more than I can bear. Behold, you. So right here where it says, behold, you. In the 2014, the Y was not capitalized. So just so you know that the MEV capitalizes divine pronouns. So anytime you see God as a pronoun, he, his, it's going to be capitalized. So that in the 2014, it wasn't capitalized. It's capitalized now. We'll go over to Joshua chapter 8. Go back a few pages. Not that many. Joshua chapter 8, verse 20. 8, verse 20. Okay. So 8:20, right here where it says, so they had no power to flee. In the 2014, it said no power to feel. No power to feel this way. So they corrected that to flee this way. And we're going to go over to Psalm 27. Psalm 27 and verse 9. Psalm 27, verse 9. And then right here in the 2014, it said, do not thrust your servant away. Yeah, it said, do not thrust your servant away. They corrected that to what we see now. Do not turn your servant away. And then, let me see, okay. Yeah, while we're here, I'll just go ahead and show you that there is a there's a poetic setting here in the Psalms. You can see the difference there. We go from two-column paragraph format to two-column verse by verse. Okay, got some more fixes that occurred. And if you're not interested in actually if you're not interested in this, you can skip ahead. But I wanted to include this for those who are wondering, because I've seen questions on Reddit and other places. People are like, hey, did they fix such and such, or did they fix all those errors or the typos? And that's why I want to show that they did get fixed. So Psalm 126, where's Psalm 126? Okay, here we go. Psalm 126, verse 2. The word was, then was our mouth filled. The word was in here twice. I think it was something like then was our was mouth filled or something like that. But anyway, they corrected that, and the word was is just there now once. And Psalm, I wonder why I jumped back. Okay, for some reason I got my Psalm out of order. Psalm 22, y'all know what Psalm 22 says, don't you? Psalm 22, verse 16, so one more page. And in the 2014 edition, I don't know that it was a typo. I think it might have been people complaining that the way they translated it, it said the wicked has enclosed me, but now it says the wicked has encircled me. Where's it at there? Encircled me, sorry. I was looking at my notes and not looking at the Bible. The assembly of the wicked has encircled me. 2014 said the wicked has enclosed me. And then right here, down here, where we have, they pierced my hands and my feet, which is what we're all used to. They had, in the 2014, they had like a lion, they pinned my hands. Yeah, so that was really odd that they now I know that I think in the JPS 1917, it says something like a lion they are about my hands, or something similar to that reading. But anyway, that's been corrected. Let me see, do I have any more? Oh yeah, I got two more. Proverbs 7. Let's jump over to Proverbs 7. Guys, we're at 1 hour and 32 minutes so far, and that's before I've edited. So where am I at? Proverbs 7, verse 25. The word let occurred twice. I don't remember what it was. I don't have it in my notes. I just have in my notes that the word let was here twice. So let not your servant turn aside to her ways. It was something like let your heart, sorry, I said servant. Let not your heart turn aside to her ways. So anyway, let was there twice. It's there once now. And then there was one over in John. Guys, there might have been more, but this is all that I found, or that I had seen. I looked online for a PDF from Charisma House or something that showed all the corrections, but I couldn't find it. If you all know about it or know where to find it, please give me the link so I can compare to what I've already shown and what I didn't, and maybe I'll stick them I'll check them and then put it in the description. Verse 118, the 2014 said, who at the Father's side? So now we have who is at the Father's side. So it was missing the word is. It just said who at the Father's side. So now we have who is at the Father's side. Okay, that was the last one that the last one of those typos are correct. I wouldn't say typo. The last one of the corrections that I found that they had made. So yeah. So this is a modern update to the KJV. I already told you they capitalize God and Jesus pronouns, and you can see that right there where we were at in verse 18, or I'll show you in verse 18. Sorry, yeah, that's where we were just at. No one has seen God at any time. The only begotten. You can see Son is capitalized, and Him is capitalized. The H in Him is capitalized, and then there is no ye, thee, thine, all that stuff. There's no archaic words that I know of in here. This is, in my opinion, it's one step above or better than the New King James. So if you're familiar with the New King James, you're going to seem at home with this, or very, very similar. The only thing they didn't do in this that I don't like is supplied words like you would see in the King James or the New King James. The supplied words are not in here, are not italicized. Sorry, they're not in here. They're in here. They're just not italicized. So, I got something I want to show you. Yeah, about concerning the capitalization of pronouns in Isaiah 52. God, I know I'm jumping back and forth a lot. Let me go to Isaiah 52. We're doing a lot of scripture hopping today. Have you all ever been church hopping? You know, you've heard of bar hopping. You ever been church hopping? I did that once. Actually, I think I've done it twice, where you find several different churches that have services at different times, and that you can make it between the two, and you try to go to every church you can in like one day. You ought to try it if you haven't. 52:13. Okay, 13. Okay, so here. This is the suffering servant. They even put it here. Behold, my servant shall deal prudently. He shall be exalted and extolled and be very high, just as me. And it goes on. His visage was so marred more than any man. His form. What I'm getting at here is he and his and his. I know that's capitalized. And so he is not capitalized. I don't understand why they didn't capitalize those pronouns. Was that an oversight, or do they not see that as divine? Do they not see that as Jesus? I went and checked other versions. I looked at, maybe I'll put it on the screen. Yeah, I'll go ahead and put it on the screen. I'll go ahead and say I will. I'll put it on the screen and show you that the New King James and the LSB and the NASB 95, they all capitalize the pronouns right here. So I don't know what's going on with that. Okay, one typo I think I found. You all can tell me your thoughts on it. Let's go to Matthew 5:22, and this is in the text. Yep, right there it is. I see it. It says, "You fool shall be," but whoever says, "You fool," shall be in danger of the hell of fire. So the hell of fire, of the hell of fire. I've never. I think that word "of" right there shouldn't be there, because in the 2014 they have in the danger of hellfire or something like that. But the hell of fire. Y'all let me know what you think about that in the comments. Maybe that's a typo, maybe it's not, maybe it's just a new way of saying it. Let me see. Let me look at my notes. I know I keep saying it. Let me look at my notes. Double column, paragraph format done said that. Words Christ. You can see that words Christ are in red. Very good red. There is a few references down here at the bottom. Let me see if I can flip through and show you if I can find some. Yeah, here's a few and a few. Oh, actually, there's quite a few there. That looks like a whole bunch of measurements. Amos, a couple there. Anyway, there is a few references at the bottom, and let me see what else I want to say. Section, yeah, and then you have references. There's some references below. Yeah, your section description or your section title. They have some references there, here and there. Let's see what else I got here. All right, well, let's wrap it up on the MEV, and then we can take a break. I'm gonna have to take a break. I'm gonna have to take a break. My voice is. I might have to go get something to drink too, I think. I'm trying to get to the. There we go. I had a tab for that. I'm not even paying attention. a good book introduction, and they have some readings here, or some additional readings. Like they say, one must read the history of the early church as well as the patristics, and they got in what that is, commentaries by the early church fathers, as well as the genre in Matthew 24. And what I found, they give some more down here. I'll read apocalyptic events, Matthew 24, Mark 13, Luke 21, but they don't tell you to turn to Daniel. Like, I just thought it was, kind of odd that they didn't include Daniel, since Daniel lines up with Revelation. You always see the Daniel Revelation combo. Anyway, they didn't include that. All right, and then in the back there is a concordance, a pretty good concordance. I mean, it's a stacked, thick concordance. Let me get to the back of it here. Yeah, there's some blank pages there, but that's the concordance. And then there's some few blank pages, so you can draw your own. Here's some kind of thicker paper. So you can draw your own maps in here, because there isn't any maps. They did not include any maps. So you get to draw your own. All right, that is that. Oh, I don't know did I mention in the intro? I don't remember. I think I did, but I'll go ahead and say it here again because I have it in my notes. I know a lot of people probably skipped the intro. No. Anyway, I got this MEV on Olive Tree, and it was a 2014 edition. It was not this 2024 edition. But what was odd was it seemed like it was an in-between edition, because there were some things that didn't line up with this or that or something like that. But anyway, it wasn't the 2024 edition. So just be aware of that. I don't know about Logos software. I don't know what edition they have on it. So, all right, I have some more thoughts on this, but I'm going to put it at the end of the video. So our next Bible is the SKJV, or better known as the Simplified KJV. So let me grab it. Yeah, all right, here we go. Here's a whole stack of SKJVs, Simplified KJV Bibles. And I've actually got two of these. I'll tell you what, how I ended up with all these. I actually got these two here. These two are the same, exact same thing, but Amazon had a really good deal on them. So I was like, I had bought one and I really liked it. So Amazon had a good deal on it. So I went ahead and got another one. So in my opinion, these are better quality than the Whitaker House KJVER and the Sword, and better than the MEV in my opinion. Now what happened was I ordered these, and I liked it so much that let me go ahead and get it out. Let me find the one that I'm supposed to be using, and I'll get it out of the slip case, and I'll go ahead and show you, because I got a little bit of a story to tell here. So I'll go ahead and show you the side, the back, and then nothing really on the ends. I know I usually don't show the sides, but I always assume that when I'm flipping it, you'll be able to see it. They kind of tell you what the plan was here, what they set out to do, and what they did, and all that stuff. Let me go ahead. So nice slip case. I guess you'd say top loading. So this is called two-tone brown stitch cross. So two-tone brown stitch cross. This has got a I'll tell you about it in a second. Let me explain this to you. So what happened was I bought this and I really liked it, and I ordered another one. So I had got another one, and because they had such a good deal on Amazon. I don't know what the price is now. I haven't looked it up, but anyway, they had a good deal. I liked it. I'm sorry, I keep repeating myself there. So I contacted, and let me open this up and show you something real quick. It says red letter edition. This is not a red letter edition. If you go to, I'll show you in a minute. There's no red letter in this, but it says it. So I contacted Barber Publishing. That's who put this out. I contacted Barber Publishing, and to my surprise, they got right back to me. I mean, really, really quick. So I asked them, I said, hey, what's up with that? And they said, yeah, sorry, that is a print error. So in that same email, I said, hey, would you all be willing to send me this? And I said, I'd be willing to send it back if need be. And I don't know, a couple days later, the VP of marketing replied to my email and said, yeah, sure, we'll send you one and you don't need to send it back. So shout out to Shaylin. Thank you so much for sending me that. And what I had done, I'll tell you this, I don't have it up here with me, but I had went ahead and bought one also because I had actually bought it before she replied back to me, letting me know that they would go ahead and send me one because I didn't know. I mean, this is a small channel. We got less than 1,000 subscribers. So I was not very confident that they would send one. But anyway, so I've got 2 of those. I got 2 of these, and then I've got this one also. I bought this one. So this is the only one I didn't buy. I bought all these others. And I'll tell you right now, I'll just go ahead and tell you right now that prior to me contacting them, I had already really liked the SKJV. It's not perfect. I do have some little quirks about it, but I liked it so much that I contacted them and asked me if they would send me. So I already had my opinion about it formed before Shaylin sent this to me. So what I'm saying that to say this is that my opinion is not based on them sending me this. I already had my opinion formed before she sent me this. So, and full transparency, Shaylin did not ask me to say one way or another. She didn't say, well, only include it if you're going to say good things. There wasn't even anything like that said. So she just said, yeah, sure, I'll get it out in the mail to you in the next couple days or something like that. And that was it. So thank you again, Shaylin. And I'm going to go ahead and I'll go ahead and show you the back of these, and then I'll get them out of the case. Well, this one here is called Plum and Paisley. Plum and Paisley. Now I'll go through each one of these. Let me get that case out of the way. I'll talk about these covers right here in a second. Let's get this one out. And this one's Rust and Stone Cross. They all have the same kind of, as you can see. If I can get this one out, snug fit. There we go. The camera's making that, I don't know what it's going to look like in editing, but the camera's making this look really dark blue. It is not. It's almost like there's some, this color looks pretty true in the camera to me, but I don't know. There, yeah, okay. Anyway, this is a lighter blue than what the camera's making it look like. It's a better blue in person than it looks like on camera, but I'll talk about these in a minute. Let me run through the cover of this one. All 3 of these that I have here, same text block. I mean, the same text, I should say. It's not like we had the KJV sword, where the KJV sword was the KJV, and then you had the KJVER, which was a modified KJV. Now, that's not the case here. All 3 of these read the exact same. So this is the cross. I like that. This is all stitched. Perimeter stitching, accent stitching, if you can see that. This has a blue accent stitching right there in the cross. Really pretty. This material, this feels like, I was asking my wife, I'm like, what does that feel like? Like, I don't know. It's kind of like a leathery feel. It's kind of like, yeah, kind of like a boot leather feel to it. And then this down here has got a kind of a suede kind of feel to it. But so let's go to the spine here, all stamped in, really nice. All this is stamped in. And then on the back, ISBN stamped in. Let me go ahead and tell you about this. Gold gilding, and then brown headband, you can see that, and then brown tail band, and then a brown, single brown 1/4 inch ribbon. And then I'll set that off to the side, and I'll go ahead and show you the cover on these. And then I should have mentioned these two here are indexed. Stitching, perimeter stitching, accent stitching on this one also. The cross is stamped in. This one feels a lot like this is a really good imitation leather. It feels really nice, and the grain in it, you can see like the pebbly and all that. Really nice imitation leather. SKJV, all this is stamped in. I just want to say, Barber, thank you for stamping everything in, or recessing it, whatever you call it. I really appreciate that, and not having paint on here. This just, and it's nice and centered, nice and centered, nice and centered. So a lot of attention to detail in these Bibles. And that was why I contacted them. I mean, aside from, that's why I asked for one, was because I liked them so much. And I seen the quality here that I was like, I want to, you know, I want to review all of these that I can. They have some more out there that, let me see if I have it in my notes. What did they, yeah, they have a couple more. I don't remember that. They're devotionals and something else. I don't remember. I have it in my notes later on, and I'll bring it up. I think I'll bring it up later. But anyway, hopefully I can get my hands on those and I'll review those at a later date. Let me see. I want to start with, did I show you everything on this one? Gold gilding. Oh, let me talk about the thumb index. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there. Brown head and brown tail band and brown 1/4 inch ribbon, and then thumb index. The thumb index on this, I'm not a thumb index person. I've always preferred non-index, but I'll tell you what, not being a thumb index person, these are the best, and these probably, I bought this for myself, knowing that it had index. I didn't buy this, I mean, I bought it for the review also, but I bought this because I liked it so much, and I was like, when I seen this one with the thumb index in it and how nice of job they did, I thought, man, I'd be okay with that. And I'll show you in a little bit, when we go through these, I'll show you why I think that thumb index is probably some of the best in Bibles. And now, like I said, though, I'm not a thumb index, I'm not a thumb index person. Let me just set these out of the way, because we're going to go through this thinner one first and get those out of the way. Now, this one is it is thinner. I'm going to measure it for you. It is thinner, and but it does have smaller print size in it. Let me get the ruler. We are, looks like 7 1/8. Yeah, about 7 1/8. It's got a little bit of a roll there. I'm trying to compensate it. So 7, maybe 1/16, 7 1/8. What's the 16th among friends? And then 9 3/8. Yeah, 9 3/8. This one's this is approaching thin line. I don't know if I'd classify it as thin line. I don't know what the definition, like the true definition of thin line is. You know, is it like, well, it's got to be 1 inch or less? I don't know. This is 1 3/8. So looks like it's right at 1 3/8. So it is very portable, very, very thin. Okay, let's get to the inside of it. Let me check my notes real quick, make sure I didn't miss anything there. Yeah. All right, let's go to the inside. Paper paste down liner. I kind of wish that, I do wish this would have been a brown paper. I think that would have been nice. They did a really nice job on all these corners. Yeah, very professional corners. I don't know who's putting these together, but I think they did a wonderful job on them. And then presentation page, just a regular piece of paper. It's no gloss or anything like that. I would have kind of liked to see this a little bit thicker, but I think I mentioned in other videos, I don't ever fill out. I don't ever fill those out. I mean, if my wife bought me a Bible and she filled it out, that would be okay. I mean, it's not like, I don't have plan on giving, you know, I mean, maybe one day, you know, my children might want all these Bibles, but, you know, not many people want a bunch of Bibles. Like I mentioned about this, the red letter edition, that is a misprint. So I have 2 of these, and both of them say that. I don't know if it's all of them, or, you know, all of these, so I don't know. But anyway, this is a 2025 version, so maybe that wasn't on previous ones. I don't know. Printed in China. Contents, and then alphabetical order. I said contents, the canonical. I should have said that. I know it says contents, but the canonical list, and then alphabetical order. And then here it tells you about the simplified KJV, and, you know, a little bit about what they did with it and all that. They talk about the 1611 here and some other things. New Testament, or the Old Testament, the New Testament. Oh my goodness, the Old Testament. This is a long video. We're already at 2 hours, guys. If you're all at this point right now and you've watched all the way to this point, why don't you put in there? What could you say? Almost there. Yeah, I don't even know if we're almost there. Geez, I don't even know how long this video is going to be, guys. I got so much more to cover. I'm pretty sure that you're gonna have to watch this in multiple sittings. And I'm recording this all together. I've taken some breaks, like just to go use the bathroom and grab a drink and then come back. But I have not, like, that's only like 2 minutes. So if I can record all this, I'm just kidding. I was gonna say if I can record all this at once, you can sit and watch it all at once, but I'm just kidding. No, but if you have watched to this point, put it in there and say almost there. All right, little short book introductions. They're nice. They're broken up. They have three themes here: introduction, author, and occasion. Nice. And then you can already see. I don't know. I don't think I mentioned it. I'll have to show you here in a second, maybe. But it's already laying flat. I'm on page 2, in Genesis 1:1. It's pretty much laying flat. So they did a good job on that. Let's jump over to page. I got my notes. Page 22. Oh, page 22. I just want to show you the sewn binding. There's the threads that it's sewn binding. The reason I show you all that is sometimes Bibles put out a glued edition. I don't think that's very often anymore, but sometimes they put out a glued edition and then they switch over to, I think the NLT Illustrated Study Bible was like that. They had a glued edition and then they switched to sewn binding, but people are still getting glued edition. Sometimes you'll get a glued edition and you could order it again and you might end up with a sewn binding. So I don't know what the history is on these, but that's why I show you. I try to remember to show every Bible that, if it is sewn bound. So this is single column, paragraph format. If you may have already noticed, these have got huge margins. So if you like to write and put notes in here, this is not centimeters. This is the Bible for you. You're going to really like that. Inch and I'm going to call it 1 5/8, but I'm kind of get my paper straight there. It's hard to tell exactly, but let's call it 1 5/8. It might be just slightly more, but let's go with the shorter side, so that way when you get it and you measure, you're like, hey, there's more space there than he said. I'd rather it be that than you be like, hey, he cheated me. Okay, so paragraph format. Excuse me. Let's go over to the Psalms. These blue tabs are for something later that I'm going to talk about later. So they're not for this right yet. Where was I going? See, y'all distracted me. Going to Psalms. The Psalms drop to a verse by verse. So now with that, I'm going to say it's not just in the Psalms, but the Psalms go to verse by verse. But anywhere you're at where there's not, even over here, you get the wide margin. You have a little bit less space in the gutter, but they still kept it out of there. So, when you're reading this, it's not bad at all. No complaints from me there. I have some Bibles where they run it down in there pretty far. Let's go over to the New Testament. Oh, look here. I see my tab, and I'm going to use it. Use it properly. Okay. New Testament, book introduction to Matthew, and I guess I could talk about the paper. Paper is a slightly off-white. Let me grab that. Let me see the MEV. Yeah, I don't know if you can see that, if the camera will pick that up, but MEV is a very white paper, and this is a slightly off-white. I prefer this slightly off-white. I think it's a little bit easier on the eyes than the bright white paper. I don't know what the GSM is on this. They don't say anywhere, but it's thick enough that there is very little ghosting, and this is not line matched. But like I just said, the ghosting is so little, or so so what was the word I'm looking for? Oh man, English words. There's so little ghosting that the non-line match, it doesn't matter. Starting to talk like the King James, I think. No references in this, no translator notes. I don't know. I mean, I'm okay with that. I wish, and I'm going to mention it later, but I do wish there was a version that had references and translator notes. But I like this that there isn't, because it's more of a, it's less distraction and kind of more of a reader's edition. And they don't claim it's a reader's edition. I'm making that. I'm just saying that for me, it's like it's, you know, less distraction. So anyway, this is a 9-point print size. This, just like the MEV, this and the KJVER, they capitalize God's pronouns and Jesus' pronouns. You can see here, Mark 1:1. Behold, I send my messenger. It's capitalized, your face, before you. So those are capitalized. Like I said, this is non-red letter, so Christ's words are in black. And then we'll jump over here to the back. I'll show you something in the back here that gives you some information about the revision process. And so right here it is the Simplified KJV revision, almost at the revision process. When you talk for a couple hours straight, I already got a problem. I got a problem getting tongue-tied anyway. Anyway, this is the list of all of the words that they've changed, but they do say here, this very last line, and I verified it and I'll show you later. It says, please note that this is not a complete list, nor have these changes been applied globally. So we'll talk about that here in a minute, about what that means that they didn't apply it globally. Let me go back. I did find one, I think it was in here, one typo. Yeah, one typo, and then we'll talk about a few other things before we switch Bibles. Let me go over to Joel is sandwiched in here. Short book of Joel. Right. Let me see. It was in the title. It wasn't in the text itself. The text, I mean, it wasn't in the scripture itself. It's right here. So you got Joel 2:10 is the first verse on this page. Joel 2:10 is the first page. And then over here it tells you, you know, this up here is what the last verse is, what the chapter and verse. See, it shows Joel 1:21. That should be Joel 3:21, because this is chapter 3, verse 21. So that's the only typo I've seen. You know, if you all know of any typos, let me know and I'll put it in the description. But I searched these and read a lot in these. I didn't see any others. But I mean, I did not read these. I didn't read any of these cover to cover. I didn't have time. I definitely didn't have time for that. But anyway, that's the only typo. And that's, to me, you know, it's not a big deal. It's not in the text itself. So let me look at my notes real quick. Yeah, let's talk about the archaic words and the statement they made. They said there's not applied globally. So if we go over to, I'm just going to put these, I think I'll just put these up on the screen instead of actually flipping through it. That'll be a little quicker. So on the screen, we'll talk about the word halt. The word halt is retained in 2 places in the Old Testament. That's 1 Kings 18:21. And then halt is also in Psalm 38:17. So those are retained in those 2 in the Old Testament. I didn't look at every place in the Old Testament. I'm just giving you examples. But the modern equivalent, which is lame or limp, but they use lame, is used in the New Testament. So Matthew 18:8, Mark 9:45, Luke 14:21, John chapter 5 verse 3. Those all have they don't use halt, they use the word lame. And then we got another one here. These are just some examples. I'm not going to go through every single archaic word, but archaic word chapiters. And if you don't know what chapiters is, that's just like the top of a pole or a post. The modern equivalent is capitals. So, but the archaic word chapiters was retained in Exodus. Actually, it was all Exodus. I have Exodus 36:38, Exodus 38:17, Exodus 38:19, Exodus 38:28. But the modern equivalent, capitals, was used in 1 Kings 7, verse 16, verse 17, verse 18, verse 19, verse 20, verse 31, verse 41, verse 42. Capitals was used in 2 Kings 25:17, 2 Chronicles 3:15, 2 Chronicles 4:12 and 13, and Jeremiah 52:22. And let me see how many more I got of these. Yeah, just two more here, or I mean just one more, sorry. The archaic word discomfited is retained in Joshua 10:10. So Joshua chapter 10, verse 10. But the modern equivalent of defeated is used in this list of scriptures I'm putting on the screen right now. I don't need to read all of that. Okay, I got a whole other list here that I'm putting on the screen right now of a bunch of archaic words. These are popular archaic words that I checked in the SKJV, and I found all of these to be updated everywhere. You can just look through this list and kind of see. Now, that's not all the archaic words. These are just kind of some of the popular ones, like script. I heard a KJV pastor mention script, and he said, Jesus said, don't take scripture with you. And that's not what script means. It means a bag. He thought he knew what it meant, and he didn't. So, anon, immediately astonied, is astonished, and so on. Let me see what else I got in here. Let me get that box back over here. Let me see. On the back of the box, this is something I wanted to talk about. And I mentioned it with the sword, the Whitaker House Bibles, the sword and the ER. Here's the claim that the SKJV is making here: keeping all the original translation work of the 1611 Bible. And it does say that it updates, but I'm going to show you that we get into the 1611 Bible. That's not. I don't think they should put that on there. They should just say they're keeping the the work of the KJV, not the 1611. But I addressed that at the end of the video. So let me jump here to the back real quick and show you. I showed you the revision process, and then there is a nice concordance in here. And then after the dictionary concordance, they have some of the best maps I've seen. These are full screen. I mean, they go all the way edge to edge, and these got blasting color. I mean, this is like HDR color. I mean, these things are very, very colorful. The way you're seeing that in the camera is the way it looks in real life. So, did I say how many maps there was in my notes? Let's just go ahead and count them. I know you're all here. You've already been here. If you've been here for 2 hours and 10 minutes, there's nothing I can do to run you off. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 beautiful maps, and then 1 blank piece of paper. So if you like extremely colorful maps, then that's for you. Wonderful Bible. I'm going to go ahead and say I definitely recommend this. Let me grab the other two. So let me tell you this. That one I just showed you, I mentioned it, but I'll say it again. That was a 9 print size. Seemed very accurate to a 9 to me. These here are much larger. These are actually called the large print. But where's the box? I want to show you the box. Just like the other one, they don't put on here what the print size is. They just tell you on the front that it's a large print. But these are a 12.5, the large print. This one here is called Plum and Paisley. This is all really neat design. It's very deeply stamped in. That's what I'm trying to say. Stitching here, perimeter stitching in white, and then accent stitching. This is all stamped in like the others. Nice little floral design there, stamped in. Same floral design on the back, and then the ISBN is kind of incognito here. So, but it's stamped in too. This has got a kind of a, I don't know, I don't want to call it a plastic feel to it, but it's just, it's like a rubbery kind of feel to it. And then this here feels like suede. So this is a really nice feel to it. And these are, obviously 2-piece. So brought together there. Gold gilding, burgundy headband, and a burgundy tailband, 1 ribbon. Did I already say all this? Even if I did, you're getting it all again. And then thumb index. We'll go over to this one, and then we'll go through this one. They call this, oh, you know what they call this? I got it in my notes. I just looked at my notes. Leather-like Descartes. I hope I'm saying that right. Leather-like Descartes, that's what they call these two. This one here feels a lot like leather. I know I already mentioned that. All this is stamped in all around. Perimeter stitching, accent stitching. Yeah, really nice. Copper color ribbon, gold gilding, and then of course the index. And I should have mentioned this. The index tabs, they have these little tabs on it already. And like I said, guys, I'm not an index person, so you can be like, hey, that's nothing. All of them have that. Maybe they do. I know my wife has some index, and they just printed it on right there. It's not an actual like tab you can feel or that's raised. The cutout on these tabs, or the thumb index, is really nice and clean on both of these. I have 3 of these, you know, we have 2 of these and 1 of these, and all of them are very nice, clean cuts. I've seen some thumb index Bibles, and that's one of the reasons I usually don't like them, is because they're kind of, you know, not great. So let me show you the inside of these. I'll show you the inside of both of these. Brown, kind of brown with a design on it, paste down liner, presentation page, and then beyond that, it's the exact same in there, except the thumb index tabs, you know, kind of match this color theme of this. So let me see, is there anything else I wanted to show you on that? Because I'm going to put it to the side. Guys, if I forget something, just hop in the comments or shoot me an email and say, hey, you forgot that. So, and I'll get back to you, and I'll look through these and tell you, well, whatever I'll answer your question. So this one here, paste down liner, same thing, presentation page, floral design, front and back. Nice job on the corners. They did a good job on these. Let me see if that'll lay flat right there. Yeah, just about. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? Let me measure that. I keep flipping that over to, I need to get me a ruler that's inches only. Let me see here. I'm trying to get it to where that I can compensate for that little bit of roll. 7 inches. 7 inches by 9.5. So 7 by 9.5. And then thickness. These are a little bit bigger Bible. I mean, these are totally portable. I'm not, you know, this is a full-size Bible, but it's portable, and it's not. I mean, I don't think that it's extremely heavy or anything like that. So inch and 3/4 thick. All right, let's get back into the inside of it. So like I said, paste down liner. The presentation page that's on it. It's not a glossy paper. And then here, red letter edition. That is not a typo. So this is a red letter edition. And this inside is going to be very similar to the other one I just showed you. As far as the text goes, there's no there's no notes or references in this. That's what I was trying to say. So that part of it's, you know, similar. The layout itself, the text block layout is you read this, or you've seen this in the other one. Same introduction, same book introductions. The only difference is this is a two-column layout. It's paragraph. The other one was paragraph, but it was a single column. And then you don't have the huge margins over here. But this one is out of the gutter a little more than the one I just showed you. You've got about a 5/8 inch or so margin over here, but this print size is very large. So if you like the large print Bibles, this is a 12.5, and just like I said, they don't put it on the box. Barber, if you watch this video, please put the print size and some of the specs on the back of the box, or at least put it in the Amazon description, because, you know, some of us, we want to know what we're getting. We don't want to have to buy it and then realize we don't really like it. Let me scroll through my notes here and look. Yeah, paper quality. The paper in this is great. I think the paper in this one might be better than the other one I just showed you, but both of these have great paper. This one is line matched. So the line match is, I was going to say it makes it even better, and it does make it even better, but there's already so little ghosting that they could have not line matched, and it still would have been great. So I got my notes here to mention that the pages in this did not stick together, but in the other one I just showed you, the pages did stick, I think on the very tip of the corners, but I don't remember it being a big deal. The Whitaker House Bibles, the green ones I showed you, the KJVER and the other one, they were sticking really bad. It was actually a pain in my hind end. I was getting aggravated. Actually, I got one of them. I quit. I'm not doing this. I'm just showing you some of this. The ink quality in this is great throughout. I didn't see any faded. Now, it doesn't mean there isn't any, but I didn't see any faded places in the ink. I mean, it looks exactly the same all the way throughout. The same thing with the red over in the over here. Let me get over there. The red in the New Testament. Christ's words are in red. So the red this is kind of I call it a fire brick red, I guess a dull red. It's not that bright pink color. So it's closer to the black letter text spectrum than it is to the bright pink spectrum. So God's pronouns in here also capitalized, same stuff that I mentioned in the SKJV we just looked at. The ETH at the end of words. So it's not maketh, it's makes. They removed all that. All the ye, thee, thine, thou stuff is removed from this. Now, one thing, I think I mentioned it in the other one, supplied words by the translator are not italicized in this. And I do wish they were italicized, because it's nice to know that, hey, this wasn't in the original. So just like the other one, I think I already mentioned it, no references, no translator notes or anything in here, so very low distraction. Book introduction there. There were some reviews that I've seen. They were claiming there was typos in here, or in these, but they didn't provide any. It was reviews on Amazon. They didn't provide any scriptures to where those typos were. And I've looked high and low, and I have not seen anybody actually show typos. So I think maybe that person was reviewing a different Bible or something. Maybe just the wrong review. I don't know, but I don't remember who it was now. I was chatting with somebody in the comments and asked. They said they had this, and I asked if they had found any typos or anything like that, and they say they didn't find anything either. So the list that I showed you in the previous one concerning the archaic words, I'll put them on the screen again, because I had thought about making each one of these reviews a standalone review also, in addition to this crazy long format one, but I don't know if I'm gonna do that or not yet. But just so you know that the archaic words that I mentioned a little while ago are the same in this one. That's all I got in my notes on this. There was a lot of this was similar to the other one. Same dictionary concordance here in the back. Same maps, beautiful full screen, edge to edge, colorful maps. And then, like I said, we're going to go and get into the text comparisons and how, and I mean, if and how these deviate from the KJV, and where do they deviate. Let's jump over to that. Well, we are like 2.5 hours in or something. I don't even know exactly what it is now, because I stopped that video where I was showing the Bibles, and I've started a whole nother video. I took a 5-minute break and got something to drink. My voice was starting to get a little crackly. So, all right. Oh, we got a lot more to go. I'm trying to think how I want to go about this. I have a plan. Don't think I don't have a plan. I do have a plan in place, but I was just trying to think exactly how I want to go about it. We're going to do some scripture readings now. And what I'm going to do is I've got my ginormous print KJV here. It's just easier to read aloud from this, less likely that I'd make very many mistakes. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to read from this. I'm going to read the KJV, and I'm going to put on screen for you. I'm going to put the MEV, and I'm going to put the SKJV, and I'm going to put the KJVER. There's so many of these. Oh my goodness. But I'm going to put all three of those on there. I'm not putting the sword because the sword is the KJV. That, be silly. So I'm going to put all of those on the screen for you while I read from the KJV. I thought that would be easier on you because you can hear me read it while you read along on one of these. So and then you can play it back and whatever. Or if you got the KJV, then you can get it out and look at it. So I got a bunch of scriptures. So guys, I don't plan on doing a whole lot of editing on this. I hope you're not upset. Please forgive me, but I'm not going to have time to edit a 3 or 3.5 hour video. I'm probably just going to push it to YouTube and hope you all will forgive me. Because normally I do the zoom in, zoom out, and all these other little cuts and things, and it's pretty time consuming. So I'm probably not going to get to that. Okay, first scripture is going to be Genesis chapter 1, verse 1. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. And God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. And God saw the light, that it was good, and God divided the light from the darkness. And God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And the evening and the morning were the first day. All right, I'm going to jump over to, let's go over to chapter 11, Genesis chapter 11. And the whole earth was of one language and of one speech. And it came to pass, as they journeyed from the east, that they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there. And they said to one another, "Go to, let us make brick, and burn them thoroughly." And they had brick for stone, and slime had they for mortar. And they said, "Go to, let us build us a city and a tower, whose top may reach unto heaven, and let us make a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth." All right, we're going to jump over to Psalm 23. There we go, Psalm 23, all of it. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. All right, one more psalm. Look at that, I flipped right to it. Psalm 73. Okay, I was one page off. Psalm 73. I'm going to read a few verses from here. Truly God is good to Israel, even to such as are of a clean heart. But as for me, my feet were almost gone. My steps had well nigh slipped, for I was envious at the foolish, when I saw the prosperity of the wicked. For there are no bands in their death, but their strength is firm. They are not in trouble as other men, neither are they plagued like other men. Therefore pride compasseth them about as a chain, violence covereth them as a garment. All right, I'll stop right there on the Psalms. We're going to go over to Isaiah 52. I'm wanting to read a lot for you just because, and show you a lot of comparison. Because sometimes when you see these scripture comparisons between different translations, they give you John 3:16 or something, or some famous verse that you've heard, and you're like, well, do they translate all of it similar? So that's why I wanted to give you quite a few different scriptures here. Hopefully my voice holds up. Been a long time since my wife would disagree, but it's been a long time since I've talked for a couple hours straight. So, all right. Awake, awake, put on thy strength, O Zion. Put on thy beautiful garments, O Jerusalem, the holy city. For henceforth there shall no more come into thee the uncircumcised and the unclean. Shake thyself from the dust. Arise and sit down, O Jerusalem. Loose thyself from the bands of thy neck, O captive daughter of Zion. For thus saith the Lord, ye have sold yourselves for naught, and ye shall be redeemed without money. For thus saith the Lord God, My people went down aforetime into Egypt to sojourn there, and the Assyrian oppressed them without cause. Who hath believed our report, and to whom is the arm of the Lord revealed? For he shall grow up before him as a tender plant, and as a root out of dry ground. He hath no form nor comeliness, and when we shall see him, there is no beauty that we should desire him. He is despised and rejected of men, a man of sorrows, and acquainted with grief, and we hid, as it were, our faces from him. He was despised, and we esteemed him not. Surely he hath borne our griefs, and carried our sorrows, yet we did esteem him stricken, smitten of God, and afflicted. But he was wounded for our transgressions, he was bruised for our iniquities. The chastisement of our peace was upon him, and with his stripes we are healed. Let's go to John chapter 1, New Testament, John chapter 1. You know John 1:1, right? In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. The same was in the beginning with God. All things were made by him, and without him was not anything made that was made. In him was life, and the life was the light of men. And the light shineth in the darkness, and the darkness comprehended it not. All right, we'll stop there. I could read off John 1. I love John 1. Let's go Acts. Let's jump over to Acts chapter 3. Now Peter and John went up together into the temple at the hour of prayer, being the 9th hour. And a certain man, lame from his mother's womb, was carried, whom they laid daily at the gate of the temple, which is called Beautiful, to ask alms of them that entered into the temple. Who, seeing Peter and John about to go into the temple, asked an alms. And Peter, fastening his eyes upon him with John, said, Look on us. And he gave heed unto them, expecting to receive something of them. Then Peter said, Silver and gold have I none, but such as I have give I thee. In the name of Jesus Christ of Nazareth, rise up and walk. And he took him by the right hand and lifted him up, and immediately his feet and ankle bones received strength. And he, leaping up, stood and walked, and entered with them into the temple, walking and leaping and praising God. Okay, I got two more scriptures. Let's go to 1 Corinthians chapter 13. 1 Corinthians chapter 13. I'm trying to give you a range. I know I've spent several, been in one place for a little bit, but though I speak with the tongues of men and of angels and have not clarity, I am become as sounding brass or a tinkling cymbal. And though I have the gift of prophecy and understand all mysteries and all knowledge, and though I have all faith, so that I could remove mountains and have not charity, I am nothing. And though I bestow all my goods to feed the poor, and though I give my body to be burned, and have not charity, it profiteth me nothing. Last scripture, or the last scripture reading, we're going to go over to Hebrews. Go to Hebrews chapter 1. Hebrews chapter 1. This is the last scripture I'm going to read, and then we're going to move to the next little segment of this. Hebrews chapter 1, verse 1. Here we go. God, who at sundry times and in divers manners spake in times past unto the fathers by the prophets, hath in these last days spoken unto us by his Son, whom he hath appointed heir of all things, by whom also he made the worlds, who being the brightness of his glory and the express image of his person, and upholding all things by the word of his power, when he had by himself purged our sins, sat down on the right hand of the majesty on high, being made so much better than the angels, as he hath by inheritance obtained a more excellent name than they. For unto which of the angels said he at any time, Thou art my son, this day I have begotten thee. And again, I will be to him a father, and he shall be to me a son. Okay. It's a lot of reading. Okay, let me see. Look at my notes here. We're going to do some tests. Okay, here we go. We're going to do the 1611 test. Let me put this away. I don't need that anymore, I don't think. Bring the 1611s over here. I'm going to do some comparisons here between these and the 1611. Trying to think how I go about this. the claims, I showed you the claims that they're made in the review, that they follow the 1611 or they stick to the original work of the 1611. I'm just going to show you some things in the 1611. I'll put this, put the overhead camera on these and show you that there are certain places in the 1611 that are very different. I mean, actually, words are different in the 1611 than in the King James. So I'm just going to show you that these other Bibles are following what's known as following the 1769 Blaney edition, the Benjamin Blaney edition of the Bible, which is most of all the King James that you buy now are based on that, or are that 1769 Blaney. Excuse me. Let me look here at my notes, and then we'll. So some of the things in the 1611, if you've never seen a 1611, you're going to see it right here in a minute, because I'm going to show you these both opened. The spelling is different. For one, the spelling is different. The original 1611, it had, when I say the original, if you actually get an original, this is a facsimile here, but the font's Gothic. The spelling's weird compared to what we have today. There's a lot of differences. So to, like when they say they followed the 1611, what exactly does that mean? Because there's a lot of differences. And that's what I'm just going to kind of point out to you. You're going to see it here in a minute. I know I keep saying that. I'll show it to you in a minute. But that's what it is the 1611 is very different. This Thomas Nelson here, it's a true 1611 text, but they converted it from the Gothic print to the Roman print to make it a little bit easier, but it's a smaller Bible, so I don't know. I can read the Gothic a little bit, or I can be pretty good, I should say. Let's go to the first one. Let's go to the first. I'm gonna put both of these here side by side and show you what's going on here. Let me try to figure out how I can get these. Let me move some of this out of the way. Okay, the first one we're going to compare is 2 Kings chapter 11, verse 10. And what the difference is in the 1611, in the 1611 edition, at the end of the verse, and I'll point to it, it says that we're in the temple. And if you go to your modern version, and I'll show you over here, let me bring this one over. Actually, let me set it right there. It says that we're in the temple, and that we're in the temple. Modern version, King James, say that we're in the temple of the Lord. So let me see, where do I got? I got this one tabbed out. Verse 11, 10. Yeah, see, it says in the temple of the Lord. And then that's the Sword Bible. I don't want that. Okay, I had to go grab the easy read. I like comparing the Sword because the Sword, it is the King James, and most people have a King James, so I don't need to show you that, but I'm going to show you this one. So you can see here that they went with the temple of the Lord also. So 1611 was just the temple, and that's in 2 Kings 11:10. So you can look in your Bible, but all your King James are going to say temple of the Lord, not just the temple. I'm not doing the MEV in this test right here, just because the MEV doesn't. They claimed that their base was the King James, and that I guess they referenced the 1550. I don't have access to a 1515 Stephanus, so I chose not to include that in this. Let's go to the next one. The next one's Isaiah 49. Get to my next little tab here. Isaiah 49, verse 13. Let me get both of these. Isaiah 49, verse 13. Let's see if I can get this like that together. And the difference is the 1611 has "for God hath," and your modern King James have "the Lord hath." So right here in 1611, "for God hath comforted his people." Over here in 1611, "for God hath comforted his people." And if you go here, let me go to my next tab. yeah, right here. For the Lord hath has I'm saying King James. For the Lord has comforted his people. So that's the difference, God versus Lord. And then here's the Simplified KJV. Where was that? Oh, Isaiah 49. Yep, that was the right place. Verse 13. I don't have a sticky here. Yeah, for the Lord has comforted his people. So you can see the difference in that one. And guys, there's nothing wrong with this. The only thing I'm pointing out is that, when they say that they followed the 1611, I'm just showing you that by saying that, I just don't feel that that's entirely accurate. Next one is Jeremiah. Oh, here we go. Jeremiah 51:30. So Jeremiah 51:30. Let me go ahead and set that up there. And there might be more of these. These are just a handful that I found. So when somebody says they're reading the 1611, if their 1611 doesn't look like that, they're probably not. Okay, so what did I say? Jeremiah 51:30. So in this one, let me see here, put that like that. And the difference in this one is, the difference between the 1611 says burnt their dwelling, and your modern KJV says burnt her dwelling. So you can see here in the 1611, burnt their dwelling places. And then over here, burnt their dwelling places. And then if we go to the modern, it's going to say they have burned her dwelling places. Let me see what I say, 30. Yep, right here. They have burned her dwelling places. So the difference between their dwelling places in the 1611 and her dwelling places in the modern versions, or the modern King James. So these are the modern versions of the updated modern versions. If you get the King James, it's going to be the exact same thing as far as these texts go. So just so you know that. All right, we got two more. I think it's two more. Yeah, we got two in the New Testament. Two in the New Testament. So we're going to St. Matthew. Going to Matthew 26:34. Matthew 26:34. Let me get this one over here so we can have them side by side. Yep, here we go. Okay, I think that'll work like that. And the difference here is might and night. So this was actually a typo in the 1611, but it got fixed afterwards. But if you have a 1611, you can go in there and look, and there was a typo here. And Jesus said unto him, Verily I say unto thee, that this might before the cock crow. You're like, might? Yeah, it should have been night. So in your modern version, it's going to say night. You can see over here in the other 1611 here in the Gothic print, it says might. So that this might. So you come here to your updated edition. Right here. Verily I say to you that this night, and nobody argues with that. I mean, it wasn't that the translators messed up in that. It was the printing press when they put an M instead of an N. And then here you can see, truly I say to you that this night. So, I mean, that's not a dispute or anything like that, but anybody that says the 1611 is perfect in every jot and tittle, it's not. Unless they can argue somehow that that M is supposed to be there. I don't know how you'd argue that, or how you could convince me that it should be. All right, last one is 1 John 5:12. So this is the last difference that I'm going to show you between the 1611 and the modern versions. And the difference is 1611 says hath not the Son. Modern versions have, and the modern King James that you buy has hath not the Son of God. So you can see here, and he that hath not the Son hath not life. And then here's the other 1611. And he that hath not the Son hath not life. So if we go over here to this, so here's the KJVER. Let me get there. And he that hath not the Son of God has not life. So they put Son of God, not just the Son. And then the same here in the Simplified. Now what I'm getting at is the Simplified, these match modern KJVs. They do not match the 1611. So I just want to put that out there once again. 12, yeah, here you go. And he who does not have the Son of God does not have life. Okay, so that's that. I think we kind of proved that those are not pure 1611s. I mean, aside from, like I said earlier, the spelling differences, if you want to get really true to the 1611, it's got to be in Gothic print and all that. So I don't know at what level. That's the thing, when they said they adhere, or they stuck with the original translation work of the 1611, and I put in the review what they said. It's like, at what level are they talking? So they weren't, they're kind of vague on that. But I just want to show you the differences here. So if somebody says, oh, I'm reading a 1611 KJV, you can check these and see. Okay. I'm looking here. My notes. We're going to start. Okay, yeah, we're going to go into the deviations. So where do all the Bibles we just reviewed, the MEV, the SKJV, the KJVER, where do they deviate from the KJV? Because that's going to be what people are wanting to know. People want to know, does this deviate? Because I love the King James and the KJV. I'm saying what people might say. The KJV is my standard. I wouldn't mind reading an updated version, but it's going to have to be better than the New King James. So that's what I've included in this. I did not include the KJV sword because it is the KJV, and that would be redundant to test the KJV against the KJV. So I have a whole bunch of scriptures here to look at. Now I'm going to make I might cut this out, but I'm going to say it anyway, just so I have it in here in case I decide I don't want to cut it out. You all know where I'm at on the spectrum. Most of you probably do. I'm KJV leaning. I'm not KJV only, but the KJV is my Mac Daddy. It's my Bible that I truly love. It has, in my opinion, it has everything in it. So it has all the features that I like. It has all the, call them controversial verses, whatever, but it's got them. So do I think it's perfect in every jot and tittle? No. But it's my go-to. I do read other versions. I love the other versions. So I just want to put that out there. So anybody that's thinking about any comments and saying some bad things, please don't. And I'll leave it at that. Other than to say, I keep my garden pruned. So if nasty comments start pop up in the comments, then I'll get rid of them. I'll prune them out, because I don't want this channel to be a channel about debate. It's not about debate. I'm just showing you facts. I'm not telling you what's right, what's wrong, what to choose, what not to choose. I'm just telling you what I think. I'm telling you what the facts are in these Bibles, okay? So, that's not to say I don't welcome your comments. Please do get in the comments, but please don't start a debate. I don't want this channel to be about debates. If you want to debate that stuff, there's plenty of other channels that are just looking for a good argument. Okay, let me look at my notes. I'm not including the sword. I already mentioned that. Why? So I will be putting the New King James is involved in this, because let me explain here. Let me tell you where I got my sources. Where's it at? So here's how I got this. Here's how I got this deviation list. There is King James only groups out there, and they show, or they say, that the New King James deviates or has problems compared to the King James, and here's all the scriptures. And that's what they do. So what I did was I thought, well, since these modern versions are claiming to be KJV updates, are they better than the New King James? Because the New King James was an update. So what I did was I took all those scriptures, the scrutiny that they put against the New King James, and I'm applying that same scrutiny to all of these others. And the sources were the Trinitarian Bible Society, they've got a whole list, the KJV Research Council, and then Brandon Peterson's KJV Compare website. He's got an interactive website where you can look at, and it's a good website for anybody, not just for KJV people, because Brandon Peterson's website, and I'll put the link in the description, it's a website that you can compare all different scriptures, all different Bible versions, and see what the deviations are and how they compare to each other. And he's got a lot of little features on there that you can search by topic, you can search by just verse or just chapter, things like that, by book, whatever. And he's got all of the major Bible versions on there. So, all right, let's see here. One thing I got on my notes here, that all of this doesn't mean that the KJV or the New King James or any of these others are right or they're wrong. That is not what we're saying. There's not more than one of me. That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm putting forth. I'm just putting forth that, hey, there's deviations and these are what they are. Okay. And then at the end of this, I'll show you the score. I'm going to be putting all this on the screen, so it's not just listening to me and looking at me. All right, here we go. And what I did was I put a pass or fail on here. I'm just going to go ahead and put this on the screen right now. This is the first one, Genesis 1:1. I've got a bunch of these guys, so we're going to be here for another 20 minutes, another 30 minutes. So if you want to take a break and come back. Genesis 1:1, the KJV has God created the heaven and the earth, and the SKJV kept, and I underlined the word that is the problem, or the what's deviating. I've underlined it. So the heaven, modern versions put heavens, and even so the MEV failed. They changed it to heavens. The New King James puts heavens, but the SKJV and the KJVER, they kept it heaven. Next up is Genesis chapter 3, verse 8. The KJV says, and they heard the voice of the Lord God walking. So this is after they fell and Adam and Eve were hiding. You can see there, the SKJV was a pass. The KJVER is a pass. When I put pass there, guys, it means that it kept it's so the same, virtually the same. Not enough to be considered a deviation. But honestly, I just don't have the time to go and put the scriptures for all of these because I got so many of these deviations. The MEV failed because they changed the, instead of saying, and they heard the voice, they say they heard the sound of the Lord God walking. So the New King James changes it to sound also. I feel my voice starting to get a little rough, so hopefully I can make it through to the end of this, guys. Pray for me. Remember that retroactive praying. Genesis chapter 12, verse 7. And I got a little note in here. This is not my note. This is a note from these. And I'm not sure why I put this note in here, but anyway, it's in there. So KJV says, unto thy seed will I give this land. The SKJV failed because it changes seed to the plural descendants. KJVER is a pass. MEV failed, and the New King James failed also. Now, that note there, if you're wondering why, like, what's the problem with changing it to descendants, is because of what Paul says in Galatians 3:16. You can read it there. I'm not going to spell it out because my intention was not to defend any of these scriptures, but I just happened to find that defense there, and it's plausible. But anyway, let's move on. Deuteronomy chapter 27:26, KJV has all the words of this law to do them. You can see there the SKJV, KJVER, and the MEV all pass there. They all have the equivalent of to do. The New King James says to observe. So some of these you might say, that's silly, I don't see the problem. That's fine. These are just going on what I found and what they list out as issues. 1 Samuel 25, verse 8, KJV, for we come in a good day So you can see here the SKJV, KJVER, MEV all pass. They all say good day. But the New King James says a feast day. So they assume that it was a feast. 2 Samuel 22, verse 3, the God of my rock is what the King James has. The SKJV pass, KJVER pass. MEV and the New King James both fail because they change rock to strength. Psalm 22:21, KJV, from the horns of the unicorns. Now, a lot of people have a problem with unicorns. But we all know that it was probably a rhinoceros or something. If you go and do the research on it, I'm not going to defend it, but if you go and do the research on what unicorn meant in 1611, it was fine. It's not what it means today. But nevertheless, the SKJV failed. They changed it to wild oxen, so they deviated from the KJV. The KJVER stayed faithful to the KJV. It was a pass. MEV, New King James failed also. They all put wild oxen. Psalm 30, verse 4. At the remembrance of his holiness. SKJV and ER pass. MEV and the KJV fail. They change holiness to holy name. Psalm 33:15. KJV, he fashioneth their hearts alike. SKJV, ER pass. MEV and the New King James failed. They change alike to, well, the MEV changes it to of them all. And then the New King James changes it to individually. So they deviated. Isaiah 7:14, KJV, behold, a virgin shall conceive and bear a son. The SKJV passes, the KJVER passes, and the MEV failed. The New King James failed because they changed it to the virgin. So if you want to, you might think that that is insignificant, changing a virgin to the virgin. Isaiah 14:12, how art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer? I think everybody's probably got that memorized. But the MEV failed. They changed Lucifer to O shining one. But the SKJV, the KJVER, and the New King James pass. And then Isaiah 26, verse 4, KJV, for in the Lord Jehovah is everlasting strength. SKJV passes, the KJVER passes. The MEV says, for in God the Lord we have an everlasting rock. So they kind of changed that up a little too much. The New King James, I got pass or fail question mark here because I kind of felt like, yeah, they took out Jehovah and put Yah, so which is Jehovah, and they kept the Lord in everlasting strength. So you decide on that one if you want. You can pass or fail it, whatever you think. Or is it a deviation that is significant? Next up is Ezekiel chapter 5, verse 17. The KJV, famine and evil beasts. Simplified KJV is a pass. The KJV Easy Read is a pass. MEV and New King James fail. They change evil to wild. So it reads famine and wild beasts. And then Daniel 3:25. The form of the fourth is like the Son of God. Now all of these pass. There is some debate on this because in modern versions, it doesn't say the Son of God. It says the Son. Well, some say the Son of a God, and some say Son of the gods. But anyway, these were all a pass. I thought I'd include it. I know they all were a pass. I think that might be the only one that all were a pass, and I decided to include it anyway. Daniel 8:21, the rough goat is the king of Grecia. SKJV pass, KJVER is a pass, MEV is a pass. New King James is a fail. It changed king to kingdom. So it reads, the rough goat is the kingdom of Grecia. I guess you could argue that both ways. Micah chapter 5, verse 2. Whose going forth have been from old, from everlasting. The SKJV is a pass. KJVER is a pass. The MEV is a fail because it says, it changes to origins and ancient times. So it reads, whose origins are from ancient times. I will voice my opinion on this. I think that it makes Jesus created. It says that he has a beginning. When you say his origins are from ancient times, and you changed it from his going forth is everlasting. So take it from there, what you think. All right, now we're into the New Testament. We graduated into the New Testament. We've got a few more to go through, and then we're going to wrap this up with my final thoughts. So let's get through these. Bear with me, guys. Hey, if you're still here, put it in the comments. Say, I'm at Matthew chapter 2, verse 12, and I've watched the whole thing. I'm interested to see how many actually. Be honest now. Be honest. Now, if you watched it in multiple sittings, that's okay. That still counts. All right. Matthew chapter 2, verse 12, and being warned of God in a dream. SKJV is a pass. KJVER is a pass. The MEV failed because it omitted of God. It just says, and being warned in a dream. It could have been from anybody, huh? Could have been from the pizza last night. New King James also failed. It said, divinely warned. So it might have been Thor that, I'm just kidding. Some of these, I see that the KJV onlyists, I see their point in these, in some of these. Okay, Matthew 5:37, KJV. But let your communication be, SKJV is a pass, KJVER is a pass. The MEV and the New King James, they omit the word communication. It just says, but let your, how does it read? I'd have to look it up. I'll put it at the bottom of the screen how that actually reads. I think it's just, but it's just, but let your yea be yea and your nay be nay. That's what it is. It's something like that. Or yes, let your yes be yes and your no be no. I think that's what it is. But in the KJV, it says, but let your communication be yes or no, or something like that. But if that was wrong, I'll put it at the bottom of the screen. Matthew chapter 7, verse 14, the KJV says, because straight is the gate and narrow is the way. SKJV is a pass, KJVER is a pass, and the MEV is a pass. But the New King James changed it to narrow and difficult. So, because narrow is the gate, or narrow is the way, and difficult is the way. So, take that for what you want. Mark 2:21. Else the new piece that filled it up. SKJV pass, KJVER pass, MEV pass. I'm just wondering, is it else the new piece that filleth it up, or is it filled it up? Okay. Anyway, the New King James omitted that filled it up. So they completely omitted all those words there. I think you see a pattern here. There's quite a few deviations, and I think you're probably seeing which one has the most or which ones have the most deviations. So anybody that thinks the New King James is the King James just updated, that's not entirely true. There is omissions in the New King James compared to the King James. So these are just facts, I'm not knocking the New King James. I'm not glorifying the King James or any of that stuff. I'm just saying these are facts. I'm showing them to you. And you can check them yourself. Luke chapter 1, verse 35, KJV, that holy thing which shall be born of thee. SKJV, pass. KJVER is a pass. The MEV is a fail because it omitted of thee / you. Because the MEV doesn't use thee, so that's why I have /u. Same thing in the New King James, it doesn't have thee, you. It just says that holy, I think it says the Holy One which shall be born. It doesn't say of thee or of you. John chapter verse 29, 5:29, KJV, unto the resurrection of damnation. SKJV, I put a pass or fail question mark here because it has condemnation. So it says unto the resurrection of condemnation. KJVER is a pass. MEV, New King James, both of those I've got the question mark there. You can see. So get in the comments, please, and let me know your thoughts on these. How do you view the difference between damnation, condemnation, and judgment in this? So the KJVER was the only one that passed on that one. You probably noticed the KJVER, I don't think it's failed once, has it? John 15:13, KJV, that a man lay down his life for his friends. So the SKJV is a pass, KJVER is a pass, MEV is a pass. The New King James omits that a man. So John 16:13, KJV, he shall not speak of himself. It's talking about the Holy Spirit, saying that the Holy Spirit will not speak of himself. Simplified KJV is a pass, KJV easy reads a pass. MEV and the New King James are a fail because they both change the words of himself to on his own authority. So speaking of the Holy Spirit, it would read, he shall not speak on his own authority. I've got problems with that one. So I think everybody should. John 19:16. I guess you could go back and say, one thing I didn't do, I should have said this in the beginning. I might cut my audio out here and paste it back there, I don't know. But I did not go back to the Textus Receptus, the actual Greek, and look at these. I don't have time for that. And that's not the point of all this. I mean, the point of these deviations was, does it deviate from the King James? It wasn't, does it deviate from the Textus Receptus, the actual Greek? So what, anyway, all right, where was I? Okay, John 19, chapter 19, verse 16, the KJV. Then delivered he him, therefore, unto them. Gotta love that King James. Then delivered he him, therefore, unto them. MEV and the New King James failed on that. They omit the word therefore, just as then delivered he him unto them. I don't think it's worded that way, but anyway, the SKJV and the KJVER were a pass. John chapter 20, verse 27. The reason I have so many of these guys is because this is what the list that those sources that they all put out. So that's why I've got this many. And I knew that since this video was going to be crazy long, I didn't think we were going to go 3 hours, but since I knew it was going to be a couple hours, I was like, heck with it. I'm going to include them all. I'm just going to put them all in there. Y'all can skip it if you want. And John 20, verse 27. I love y'all. Y'all are great. I'm getting wore out. John 20, verse 27, KJV, and be not faithless, but believing. KJV, simplified KJV is a pass, or KJVER is a pass, and the MEV and the New King James both omit the word and. You might say nitpicking. And the next one is another one of those ands. So Acts 2:42, chapter 2, verse 42, KJV, and in breaking of bread. The simplified pass, the easy read is a pass. MEV, New King James both omit and. All right, Acts 5, chapter 5, verse 24. They doubted of them whereunto. Guys, you can go back and read these in context. I might add more to this in editing, but as of right now, the way I'm reading this and seeing it is the way I'm going to put it on screen. But if I have time, I'll add more than what I'm actually saying. So, because when I'm reading from my laptop, I'm reading from my notes. And this is what I had planned on putting in the final version of the video, but I might add more. Depends how much time I have. So that was at Acts chapter 5, verse 24. They doubted of them whereunto. SKJV is a fail because it omits of them. KJVER is a pass. The MEV fail because it omits of them. And then the New King James omits. The New King James, sorry, getting tongue-tied there, is also a fail for the same reason. Acts 7, chapter 7, verse 2, KJV, and he said, men, brethren, and fathers. Simplify was a pass, ER is a pass, but the MEV and the New King James, they both omit the word men. It just says, and he said, brethren and fathers. Yeah, Acts 11:11, KJV, and behold, immediately there were. Simplified is a pass, the ER is a pass, MEV is a pass. The New King James fails because it omits, and behold. Next up is Acts chapter 12, verse 4. Intending after Easter to bring him forth. And a lot of people say that Easter should not be in the King James, or the word Easter, and this is the only place it occurs, is Acts chapter 12, verse 4. I think it's used 29 times, and 28 of those times the word is translated as Passover, but this one time in Acts 12:4 they have it as Easter. Simplified is a pass. The KJVER is a pass. MEV and the New King James fail because they changed Easter to Passover. Guys, I'm not saying that Easter is right. I'm just saying that this is a fact, that the MEV and the New King James change it from Easter to Passover. I'm not saying which is right. I have studied this out, and I see both sides. So, but nevertheless, I'm not trying to say that Easter is the correct reading. I'm just letting you know which of these change it from the KJV. Acts 13:38, KJV, be it known unto you, therefore, men and brethren. Simplified pass, KJVER is a pass, but MEV, New King James, they both omit men. You might be seeing a pattern here. Doesn't it seem like the MEV is following the New King James a lot? All right. Acts 15:23. And they wrote letters by them after this manner. So the Simplified is a pass, KJVER is a pass, MEV omits after this manner and changes the plural letters to singular to this letter, and adds the text not in the KJV, which is by their hand. New King James fails, and it omits after this manner and changes the plural letters to singular, this letter. So it would read something like, and they wrote the letter just by them, but the MEV kind of went paraphrase a little bit there of a dynamic land by adding by their hand. All right, Acts 16:24, KJV, who, having received such a charge, and the SKJV fails because it omits who. KJVER is a pass. MEV, New King James, also omit who. Acts 16:37, KJV, but let them come themselves and fetch us out. Simplified KJV is a pass. KJVER is a pass. The MEV and the New King James are a fail because they omit the word but. Acts 22, verse 1, KJV, men, brethren, and fathers, hear ye my defense. SKJV, pass. KJVER, pass. MEV is a fail because it omits men, and so does the New King James Version. 1 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 18, KJV, but unto us which are saved, it is the power of God. Now, this is a good one. SKJV, pass. KJVER is a pass. MEV, New King James, both are a fail, and they failed in the same way. They changed which are to who are being. So it would read, but unto us who are being saved, not which are saved. I know a lot of people have some serious problems with that. 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 45, KJV, the first man, Adam, was made a living soul. The last Adam was made a quickening spirit. If you don't know what quickening means, that means life-giving. It means reviving. It doesn't mean quicken means alive, but quickening means to be making alive or life-giving, reviving. And this is the only place, I think, is the only place that the KJVER failed. You can see it there on the screen. Instead of saying quickening spirit, it says a living spirit. So Jesus, the last Adam, Jesus, is more than just a living spirit. So please do get in the comments and tell me what you think about that one. 1 Thessalonians chapter 1, verse 1, KJV. And it says, Paul and Silvanus and Timotheus. The MEV and the New King James take out the word and. I'm going to go ahead and say that I don't really have a problem if the word and is omitted. But correct me if I'm wrong. If you can give me a good reason why that is a problem. I think some punctuation, a comma, takes care of that now. All right, moving on. 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 10, KJV. For the love of money is the root of all evil. SKJV is a pass. KJVER is a pass. MEV failed. And it says, for the love of money is the, or changes to it is a. So for the love of money is a root of all evil. And the New King James goes even above and beyond that and says, is a, and changes of all to of all kinds. So it kind of reads like the love of money is a root of all kinds of evil. So they deviated from the King James quite considerably there. Hebrews chapter 1 and verse 6, KJV, and let all the angels of God worship him. The SKJV is a pass, KJVER is a pass. MEV and the New King James both omit the word and. Hebrews 3:16, guys, we're getting close to the end of this. Hebrews 3:16, howbeit not all that came out of Egypt by Moses. SKJV is a pass, KJVER is a pass. The MEV and the New King James are a blundering fail here. No, I'm just kidding. They are just a fail because they say, was it not all? And then the New King James says, indeed, was it not all? But it wasn't all. It wasn't all that that provoked. If you read the whole thing, it says, howbeit not all that came out of Egypt by Moses that provoked. It wasn't. Caleb and Joshua did not. So it wasn't all. The MEV and the New King James make it sound like it was all. I'll leave it there, and you can get in the comments and argue your case. If you all do get in the comments and correct me, you got to prove it though. You got to put the scripture in there and show me. Okay. Please don't get in there and just say, you KJV hater, you're wrong, or you modern version hater, you're wrong. Back it up. Because I'm bringing the receipts here, you bring them too. 1 Peter chapter 1, verse 8, whom having not seen ye love, in whom though now ye, and then it goes on. So you can see there the first three are a pass. New King James fails because it omits the words in whom. 1 John 5:13, KJV, and that ye may believe on the name of the Son of God. SKJV is a pass. KJVER is a pass. The MEV is a fail, and so is the New King James. And they fail the same way because they have, you may continue to believe in the name of the Son of God. So that's not what the KJV says. 2 John verse 6. And this is love that we walk after his. It goes on. The first three are a pass. New King James fails because it omits the word and. Just says this is love. I kind of laugh because of the ands. Guys, I wasn't going to put them in here, and then I thought, you know what? To be fair, these are what the KJV only guys. This is what they claim are problems or deviations. So I put them in here too. 2 John chapter 7, KJV. For many deceivers are entered into the world. The SKJV is a pass. The ER is a pass. MEV, KJV are a fail, and they both failed at the same thing. It says have gone out into, because the KJV says entered into, they say have gone out into. So Jude 3, sorry, there's only one chapter. Jude 3, KJV, beloved, when I gave all diligence to write unto you of the common salvation. The Simplified KJV is a pass. KJV Easy Read is a pass. MEV, New King James, fail. The MEV adds tried after diligent. In the MEV it says diligently, but they put tried. So diligently tried. And it changes the common to we have in common. So it kind of adds some stuff there. And then the New King James Version changes the common to our common. So it would read, unto you of our common salvation. All right, couple more. We're in Revelation Revelation chapter 2, verse 15. KJV, the doctrine of the Nicolaitans, which thing I hate. So the MEV was the only fail. It omits which thing I hate. So it just says the doctrine of the Nicolaitans. So it removed which thing I hate. Revelation chapter 6, verse 11. KJV, and white robes were given unto every one of them. The Simplified KJV is a pass. The Easy Read is a pass. MEV and the New King James both fail. They say, then a white robe, making it singular, whereas the KJV was plural with, and white robes were given to every one of them. Okay, excuse me. Last one. That's what I got in my notes. It says last one. Do y'all feel accomplished? But we're still not done. I still got to give you my final thoughts on all this. Revelation chapter 22, verse 12. KJV, to give every man according as his work shall be. So the SKJV, or the KJVER was the only pass. The SKJV put according to what his work is. So present tense. MEV is present tense. New King James is present tense, according to his work. The KJV makes it sound like it's future tense. Yeah, to give every man according to his work, or as his work shall be. I want to reiterate, I have it here in my notes, that what we just went through was just to show the deviations, just to show the facts. It wasn't to argue sides in any way, okay? So I'll put on the screen right now the final score. You can see which ones did good and which ones didn't do so good. So if you're looking for a modern version that does not deviate from the King James, basically at all, it would be the Easy Read. It only had one deviation out of that whole list. It only deviated one. And I'm going to explain that a little bit more, but I'll say it here now, is that the KJV Easy Read, it is so close to the KJV, I almost don't understand the point of it. I mean, yeah, it takes out the ETH and stuff, but it's just already reading so close. But anyway, it was the most faithful to the KJV. And then next up was the Simplified KJV, and then, but then the MEV and the New King James, they went way off. I mean, they deviated the most. So take that for what you want. That's the information for you if you want, to help you make that decision. So some of the things I'm going to talk about here in a minute, I got to change my notes. I'll go ahead and do that now while I'm blabbing about this. Some of the things you want to take into consideration is the quality of the Bible, the the print size, the ease of use, and how close it stayed to the KJV, and is it something that looks like it's going to go out of print anytime soon? Are they updating, are they putting out Bibles? What are the other options? It's just like I mentioned with the Simplified KJV review, they have other options out there, other covers. They have devotionals and things like that. Let me get into my final thoughts here. You all go take a break and come back, and I'll wait on you, because my final thoughts might be another 20 minutes or something. I think the camera's showing me that we're at like an hour and 10 minutes right now on this, and I think the segment prior to this was like 2 hours. So this is going to be a 3.5 hour video, and I'm not going to do any diligence to trim it down. I'm probably going to give you all this video in raw format. I think I've already said that multiple times. Since you're back from your break, we'll go ahead and get started. Here's my final thoughts. I'm going to pretty much read from my notes here. The KJVER and the sword, you know what? What do I do with it? It's out of reach from now, and I'm not going to get up to get it. But the KJVER, you know what? Actually, I'm going to pause this and go get it. So you just hang tight. Okay, I'm back. And I grabbed all of them because I want them all within reach right here. Let's start off with final thoughts on, and you probably already know what I mean, the review of this said it all. And I'm not going to apologize for it, because this could have been a good Bible. Whitaker House, take this cover off, put the cover you got right here, put that on this, and keep this $10. I don't know, raise the price $15. Put a ribbon in it, give a ribbon, and the print in this is unacceptable. You got verse numbers that are running over on top of the text. So the KJVER is extremely close to the King James Version. They stayed true, very true to the King James Version, except for that one verse I showed you about the quickening of the Spirit, or becoming they changed quickening to a living spirit. So that was the only place that I found. To be called, I've got my notes here. Yeah, to be called an easy read, it's like they left way too many archaic words in there, and they didn't change the sentence structure, to be modern. I showed you that. So they did take out the ye, the thee, and the thine, which I love. If I was publishing Bibles, if I was in control of all Bibles being published, you all would have to read the ye and the thee and the thou, because I think they're great and I think they're important. At least the ye is. But I digress. I will not go into that. I was going to put that up. Yes, removing the ETH and all that did help it to be a little bit easier to read. And I have to admit that even though I love the King James and I read it daily, the ETH, I sometimes, was it Sylvester the cat? I'm showing my age now because I'm almost 50. I'll be 50 in a couple months. July 2nd is my birthday. Sylvester the cat, when I was a kid, there was one of those that talked with, he always put an ETH at the end of like every word. Okay. All right, let me talk about the sword and these right here, which was these. I'll just put them in the same group. The sword and here's another sword. These were, they were okay. The cover is nice. It's like the cover's nice. The front of it was nice. The front of this one is amazing. I wish they would have done Whitaker. And we'll call on you again. Do what you did on this one. Do it to these. Make this sword, engrave that sword or emboss it, whatever you call it. Do it like you did this. And keep the price the same. But these were definitely an upgrade from this. I do have some replacements coming. Which one was it? Yeah, this corner that was messed up. I showed you that. That one's getting replaced. And this one's getting replaced. I've got another one that had to be replaced. So they have quality QC problems. So if you order these, be aware you're probably going to end up with some stuff you're going to have to send back and get it replaced. Now, the replacements I got were okay, and then remember, Whitaker, if you're watching this, I doubt they will, but if you are, get this centered up on these. These are decent Bibles, but keep them at $30 or less. I'm seeing on Amazon $70. Come on, these are not a $70 Bible. I'm just saying, they're not a $70 Bible. Something else I want to recommend on these is where you're underlining and putting the definition out there, make that consistent throughout. If it's a little bit more work on your all's part, do it. Because it's just too confusing. Because, like I showed in the video, it's a couple times here and there, and then it may go 10 or 15 verses and you don't get that underlined again, and then all of a sudden you got it underlined and defined again. So please make that more consistent, or just change all the words, take all the archaic words out. That's what I recommend. Just take all those archaic words out, replace it with modern words. Anybody that's looking for a modern KJV, I don't think they're going to be upset that you took the archaic words out. You can put in a footnote what the archaic word was. I think that would be best. Okay, next up, I think that's all I wanted to say about Whitaker House's sword and that. Do I recommend them? I don't recommend this one, the gift version. Guys, I don't know if I recommend. The thing is they're so close. The sword is the KJV, and the KJV Easy Read is already so close that to me, I would just be like, I'm just going to read the KJV. It's because it's still got a lot of the archaic words, and then the underlining wasn't consistent. So I'm just going to be neutral on that. I'm not going to recommend it, or I'm not going to recommend it. Is that what I want to say? You know what I mean? Okay. The next up is the MEV. Let me give you my final thoughts on the MEV. The quality of the Bible, in my opinion, is really good. I would have liked to seen some perimeter stitching on it. That would have just taken it one notch up. And then this in gray or stamped in instead of this paint that's already wearing off. But the quality of the Bible, it seems like a solid Bible to me. I love this copper colored gilding on it. Paper's great. The print throughout was great. The only thing I wish it hadn't deviated from the KJV so much. You know, it deviated way out there. So I would have liked to see that kind of get drawn back in a little closer to that. But, you know, the archaic words are gone, the ETH and all that stuff. So if you love the New King James, the MEV might be a good choice for you if you want to check that out. So, and that being said, checking out all of this as usual, all of these links will be in the description for your convenience. So we still got some more to look at here. Oh, I forgot to mention the MEV. It seems like it might be going out, like they may not be doing anything else with it. I've seen some comments and I've seen some videos saying that people think it's going out of print, that Charisma House and them are not it's gonna die. So I don't know. I guess we'll see. I know that that's the only cover I could find, so they don't have any other covers. Okay, let me see. Yeah, so I put in my notes here, would I recommend the MEV? Yeah, I mean, I would recommend it. If you're coming from, especially, I mean, if you're coming from the critical text side, which critical text, if you don't know, is all the modern Bibles, like the NIV, the NLT, the Message. Well, is the Message, that's a serious paraphrase, but yeah, it's still based on the critical text. So if you're coming from there, yeah, I definitely recommend it. But still, even then, what I'm getting ready to mention is we're getting ready to go to the Simplified KJV. This is what I would recommend. I'm going to go ahead and say it right off the bat. So that way, if you click away, which I'm sure everybody already did, if this was a live video, I'd have like one viewer, and that would be me. The Simplified KJV is what I would recommend. I fell in love with this, the work they're doing here. They need to do a few more things, in my opinion. But Barber Publishing, if you're watching this, you're doing a great job here. Please keep it up. And I'm going to tell you what I would like to see. The cover options are great. The quality of these Bibles are great. In my opinion, you can't go wrong with these. You know, they're offering the wide margin, the very portable size, all the way to your bigger full-size Bible with the 12.5 print size in it, indexed. These are great. Now, I would like to see, actually, let me look at my notes because I'm going to go ahead. I think I'm going to do this a little bit more methodical. Yeah, it only had a few deviations from the KJV. It stayed really close. Oh, there we go. I got it in my notes here. The other cover options that I've seen on Amazon is Hope and Healing Devotional Version and Bible Promise Version. So both of those I might get or like to get and review those. And I'll review those as a standalone. I think what I'm going to do is, because I like this so much, I'm probably going to pull this out of this longer video. I mean, I'll keep this big video together, but I'm going to pull it out and make a review out of just that. I might actually just do a separate review. But I think Barber's doing some really good work here. And out of all these Bibles, these are the ones I would recommend, is the Simplified KJV, because it just reads smooth. The closeness to the KJV is still there. So here's what I'd like to see in this, is I'd like to see a premium option. I'd like to see a goat skin or a good leather option in one of these. It doesn't matter which one. I would like to see this in a non-indexed, and in these, put 2 ribbons in it. Put 2 3/8 ribbons in these. I'm okay with 1 ribbon in this one. I mean, it'd be nice to have 2. You could go with 2 1/4 inch, and I'd be stoked about that. I'd be happy. Make an option. Keep these options, but make another option with references. Have a reference Bible. You know, it doesn't have to be 70,000, but do a 20 or 30,000 reference Bible. Replace all of the archaic words or none at all. but you replaced some and you left some in place. I don't know why you did that, but it's confusing. And if you're going to leave archaic words in it, define them properly. Do a good job at defining. Like the Schuyler Bible that I have behind me up here, it has in the back, it's called the King's English. It has a whole list of all the, well, I would say all of them, but a majority of the archaic words, and it defines them. You could do something like that. But anyway, let's wrap this thing up. Let me see here. Yeah, I got my notes here that I don't have any skin in the game. I wasn't paid to review any of these. Barber didn't pay me. They didn't tell me to say anything. They did send me, they sent me this one, and I thank you so much, Shaylin, for this. These are great Bibles. So my order, the pick, if somebody said you have to pick in a certain order, my 1 through 5 is the SKJV is my number 1 pick. The SKJV, I will take the SKJV any day over the New King James. Let me put that out there. I will prefer the King James over this, but my order is King James, the SKJV, and then it would have to be the Sword, just because it is the KJV, then the KJVER, and then the MEV, and then the New King James. And the only reason the MEV and the New King James lose out on my list is because they deviated from the King James so far. So, and that was the point of this whole video, guys. It's a lot. It was a lot. I'm sure I missed stuff. There was so much more I could have included. I could have spent weeks and weeks of more research and pouring more into this video, but I just don't think that I could have went any more on this. I think we're going to be pushing 3.5 to 4 hours on this video, and you're all going to get every jot and tittle of this video that I put into this. I probably won't do very little cut and edit in this. Maybe when I got up and walked away a couple times, because I didn't stop my camera, I just let it roll, I'll cut that out. But as far as what I've talked about, I'm going to leave it all in here. So forgive me. I'm getting tired. I think I need to go take a nap. You all take care. I really appreciate you all watching this, and I hope that this helped you out. Get in the comments and let me know what could have been better about this video, because I plan on doing some long format videos in the future. Let me know where I failed and where I passed. Okay? Y'all take care. I will see you all soon. Give me a couple days to rest.